Chapter 1494. 1494 Dragon, 2 out of 1,494 people. Tian Qing's call of a handsome man struck the heart of Dui Mudezhuang, making him feel comfortable all over. However, the last sentence was obviously impossible. Little goody was not his, so how could he have the right to sell it? "I'm sorry, Beauty, I'm not selling it. I'm really sorry," Dui Mudezhuang said to the woman. "That's such a pity." Seeing that Lone Mudezhuang rejected her without hesitation, she shook her head in disappointment and reached out her hand to tease him for a while. Before leaving, she asked again. After Lone Mudezhuang rejected her again, she left in disappointment. "Hey, hey, hey, beautiful ladies, don't squeeze, don't squeeze. If anyone really likes Little Goody, we can leave a way to communicate." Tian Qing left, and Dui Dezhuang was once again surrounded by a group of girls who were overflowing with love. At this time, Dui Dezhuang revealed his purpose. Leaving a way to communicate, he would have a good in-death exchange in the future. If he could marry a girl from a large family, then he would be rich. Dui Dezhuang was in the middle of the group of girls, talking to each of the girls with a face full of enjoyment. He was chatting cheerfully, wiping his saliva from time to time. "I forgot to ask what kind of ferocious beast cub it is. If there's a chance, ask father to buy one for me." Tian Qing turned around to look at Dui Dezhuang and shook her head. "What's troubling our Miss Tian Qing?" At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. The group of girls looked in the direction of the voice. 20 to 30 young men were walking towards them. The leader was a slightly flirtatious young man dressed in red. His handsome smile and frivolous smile were very attractive to girls. "It's nothing. I just met someone I like. Gong Sunning, are you going to join young Master He Yuan's army today?" Tian Qing shook her head slightly and asked the young man. "Yes, I'm going to join young Master He Yuan's army. This is a good opportunity for me," Gong Sunning said with a smile. "With Gong Sunning's strength, no one can beat him in the whole field. I believe Gong Sunning can become the commander of young Master He Yuan's army." A few girls next to him said to Gong Sunning in a fawning manner, "Haha, thank you for your kind words." Gong Sunning said with a smile, "I'll go there and wait for Princess Yao Yao and the others. You guys talk first." Tian Qing said with a smile and left. Obviously, she didn't have any good impression of Gong Sunning. "Miss Tian Qing, you guys go first. I'll go right now." Gong Sunning wanted to go with her, but he hesitated and said with a smile. As he watched Tian Qing leave, his eyes flickered. "Young Master Gong Sun, I believe that you will be able to capture Miss Tian Qing's heart in no time." A young man beside Gong Sunning said with a smile. "Of course." Gong Sunning smiled, his eyes flickering with confidence. He, Gong Sunning, was the most outstanding young man other than the chosen disciples of the He clan. He had the strength of a peak-stage, profound void martial artist. Among the subordinate forces of the He clan, his Gongsun clan was also considered a top-notch force. Within the same generation, no one could compare to him, Gong Sunning. What did Miss Tian Qing want just now? As Gong Sunning spoke, his gaze turned towards the group of girls clustered around him. His eyes flickered. "Oh, let's go take a look." The group of youths looked over, and their gazes landed on Little Rascal. It should be this cute, vicious beast cub. The group of youths thought to themselves. However, at the last position behind Gong Sunning and the others, young Master Demo looked at Demu Dezhuang, who was surrounded in the middle with a stunned expression. "This guy." His expression changed as he said, "Demu Jiang, you know that kid?" The youth at the side heard his voice and asked in surprise, "I know him. He's my younger brother." Demu Jiang didn't dare to hide anything when he heard the youth's question and said with a sullen face, The youth at the side wasn't someone he could offend. "Oh, really? The youth's eyes reflected light. Jiang, if you can bring that vicious beast cub in your younger brother's hands over to young Master Gongsun, young Master Gongsun will be happy and won't be short of your benefits in the future. Moreover, I won't be short of your benefits, brother Jiang. Really? Jiang was slightly taken aback. His eyes revealed a hint of excitement as he hurriedly asked. Of course. The young man patted his shoulder and nodded. Haha, big brother Zhou. To be honest, this little brother of mine wouldn't dare not give me what I want. Wait for me. I'll bring it to you in a minute. Jiang said as he walked towards Dazhuang confidently. When the young man saw this scene, his face was filled with excitement. He hurriedly walked to Gongsun Ning's side and said softly, Oh, not bad, not bad. When Gongsun Ning heard the young man's report, he said to him with a face full of praise, It's my honor to be able to do something for young Master Gongsun. The young man said with a face full of smiles, Dazhuang, come here. Jiang looked at Dazhuang, who was full of joy, and shouted with a cold face. Huh. Dazhuang, who was surrounded by a group of girls, was slightly stunned. He looked over with a face full of astonishment, and his face was slightly embarrassed. Ladies, I'm sorry. He squeezed out a smile and walked out of the group of girls. Big brother, what's the matter? Dazhuang walked over with a somewhat embarrassed expression. Give me this ferocious beast cub on your body. Jiang said directly with a somewhat impatient expression and reached out his hand to grab little rascal. Big brother, what are you doing? Dazhuang was slightly stunned and hurriedly took a step back. He stared at him and asked with an embarrassed expression, You're giving it to me just because I asked you to? Why, have you grown a pair of wings? Jiang glared at him with a cold expression. Little rascal isn't mine. It belongs to a friend of mine. Dazhuang shook his head and said with a slightly unpleasant expression, I don't care if it belongs to your friend. Give it to me. Tell your friend. Jiang ignored him and reached out his hand to grab little rascal again. No, I'm going to send little rascal to my friend. As Dazhuang spoke, he quickly turned around and walked towards Wang Xian's seat. Huh. Jiang was slightly taken aback. When he saw that Wang Xian dared to reject him, his expression turned cold instantly. Dazhuang, if you don't want to die, send it to me immediately. He growled in a low voice. However, Dazhuang ignored him and walked towards Wang Xian. This made Jiang's eyes burn with anger. Huh, what's wrong? At this moment, Gongsun Ning's voice came from behind, causing Jiang's face to stiffen. Jiang, what's going on? Didn't you say that you could bring it over in a minute? Following that, the young man's somewhat angry voice was heard. This caused Jiang's expression to change slightly. Big brother Zhou, young Master Gongsun. He hurriedly turned his head and revealed an apologetic smile on his face. That vicious beast's cub belongs to this younger brother's friend. Just that friend of his. If I go over, I can directly ask for it. I'll go over right now. Chapter 1495. 1495 Dragon of 1,495 People 3. At the birthday banquet venue, Jiang stared at Dazhuang's back with a gloomy face as he walked towards Jiang. At the back, Gongsun Ning and the others looked at Jiang with faint smiles on their faces. They didn't pay too much attention to Jiang. Speaking of which, Gongsun Ning didn't know Jiang at all. He could only be considered as a little brother's little brother. His little brother's friend wouldn't be anyone with any background. It would be a piece of cake to take the young, ferocious beast from their hands. Everyone followed behind Jiang and walked forward leisurely. In the surroundings, young men greeted Gongsun Ning respectfully from time to time. Gongsun Ning, who was dressed in red, became a small focal point in the entire banquet hall. Some people would look at him from time to time and discuss in low voices. brother Wang Xian. At this moment, Dui Dezhuang, who was walking towards Wang Xian's seat, felt his brother following behind him. He sped up with an embarrassed expression and shouted at Wang Xian. What's wrong? Didn't you enjoy yourself just now? Why, are you being targeted by a pervert? Wang Xian looked at the flustered Dui Dezhuang and teased him with a smile on his face. Brother Wang Xian, stop joking around. Little rascal, go over quickly. That brother of mine wants to take little rascal away. I didn't agree, and he followed me here. As Demu Dezhuang spoke, little rascal jumped onto Wang Xian and squeaked. That brother of yours. Wang Xian pinched little rascal's belly and looked up at the back. Demu Dezhuang, let's see if you are itching for trouble. At this moment, Demu Zhang's voice was heard. This made Demu Dezhuang shrink his head. He forced a smile and turned his head around. Big brother, this ferocious beast cub is really not mine. Bam! However, Demu Zhang slapped him on the head instead. Demu Dezhuang didn't dare to speak. He stood at the side with an apologetic smile. You're a dead thing. How can you have any friends? He said with a frosty expression as he looked ahead. However, when he met Wang Xian's smile, his expression suddenly froze and kept changing. What, are you going to snatch my things? Wang Xian looked at Demu Zhang indifferently. Gulp. Demu Zhang gulped as a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. He remembered what happened on the airship very clearly. This young man in front of him was definitely not someone he could provoke. For a moment, Demu Zhang stood there and his expression kept changing. Demu Zhang, what are you doing? An impatient voice came from behind. Demu Zhang turned his head and looked behind him. He walked over with an embarrassed expression. Brother Zhou, young Master Gong's son. That ferocious beast cub belongs to that young man. He is very strong. Demu Zhang stammered. All right. Gong Sun Ning waved his hand at him and walked straight towards Wang Xian. The young man at the side glared at Demu Zhang, his face full of dissatisfaction. Young master, I am Gong Sun Ning. I wonder if you can part with your little pet. I can buy it at a high price. Gong Sun Ning raised his head slightly and walked to a spot about 5 meters in front of Wang Xian. He looked at Wang Xian with a smile. You can't afford it. Wang Xian glanced at Gong Sun Ning and said faintly, Squeak, squeak. Little rascal, who was at the side, glared at him and bared his fangs and brandished his claws. Gong Sun Ning was slightly taken aback. A look of astonishment appeared on his face before he started to laugh. This young master sure knows how to joke. I can't afford it? There are things that I, Gong Sun Ning, can't afford? He smiled and his expression slowly turned cold as he stared at Wang Xian. Not for sale. Wang Xian drank a cup of tea and said indifferently, Kid, our Gong Sun young master wants to buy your things to give you face. Give us a price. Don't be ungrateful. When the few young men behind Gong Sun Ning saw Wang Xian's merciless rejection, they threatened him with cold faces. Wang Xian didn't bother with them at all. He took out a spirit stone and placed it in front of Little Goody. Crack, crack, crack. Little Goody bit the spirit stone and let out a crisp sound, as if it was a silent mockery. When Dui Dezhuang saw this scene, a bitter expression appeared on his face. He didn't even bother with the young master of the He clan and the brothers of the Forest Spirit's princess, Wang Xian, let alone these few people. However, Wang Xian ignored him. This made Gong Sun Ning's face turn even colder. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Wang Xian. Then he walked over slowly. The group of young men followed closely behind him. They stared at Wang Xian coldly. Brother, are you not giving me face? Gong Sun Ning walked to a meter in front of Wang Xian slowly. He stared at Wang Xian from above and looked down at him coldly. Scram. Wang Xian glanced at Gong Sunning indifferently and said coldly, "Hee, interesting. No one has ever dared to tell me to scram. Then what if I don't scram?" A sinister smile appeared on Gong Sunning's face as he stared at Wang Xian expressionlessly. Bam! When Wang Xian heard his words, he gently put down the tea cover in his hand. Boom! A gray fist appeared directly on Gong Sunning's chest and attacked him. What? Gong Sunning's expression changed drastically. The intense pain in his chest made him spit out blood uncontrollably. His body flew backward. "You actually dared to ambush Gong Sunning. You're courting death." The faces of the young men behind Gong Sunning changed drastically. They hurriedly stretched out their hands to catch Gong Sunning. However, the powerful force caused their bodies to continuously retreat backwards. Pang! The group of youths retreated to a table over 10 meters away, and a loud sound rang out, attracting the attention of the surrounding crowd. What's the situation? There seems to be a conflict. It's Gong Sunning Gongzi. Gong Sunning Gongzi actually spat out fresh blood from his mouth. Who injured him? Who has the strength to do so? The people around were slightly shocked. They looked over in surprise. You actually dared to sneak attack me." Gong Sunning wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He felt embarrassed when he felt the attention of the people around him. "You're courting death." His vital energy and blood rushed to his head. His figure moved, and he attacked Wang Xian directly. Wang Xian waved his arm. A grayish energy attacked Gong Sunning again at a terrifying speed. Bang! Gong Sunning, who had just rushed over, didn't even have time to react before he was struck in the chest again. A powerful force caused him to spit out blood again. His body was sent flying backward. This time, he landed heavily on the ground. His eyes widened in disbelief. He was Gong Sunning after all, other than the young master of the He clan. He was the #1 heaven's favorite within a radius of more than 100,000 kilometers. Now he was actually easily defeated. Chapter 1496. 1496 Dragon, 4 out of 1,496. What? Gong Sunning is actually not a match for that young man. He was defeated in one move. That young man's strength is so terrifying. He actually dared to make a move at young Master He Yuan's birthday banquet. Is he courting death? So what if he makes a move? That young man was able to defeat Gong Sunning, and his strength is at least at the peak of the first level of the profound void tier. With young Master He Yuan's breadth of mind, he might even admire him very much and make him join the army, becoming the commander of the army. Sounds of shock could be heard from the surroundings. Most of the people present were clear of Gong Sunning's strength. Among the younger generation, the only ones who could suppress him were the He clan's disciples. Yet now he was actually easily defeated by someone. This young man who suddenly appeared out of nowhere had monstrous talent. This time, he would definitely be able to join young Master He Yuan's army. What formidable strength. Looks like he should be one of the strong contenders for the position of commander of young Master He Yuan's army this time. Not far away, Miss Tianqing and the others looked in their direction with a surprised expression on their faces. Princess Yao Yao is here. Some young elites of the forest Yao Yao race are here. That beauty should be He Sui-Ching of the He Sui-Ching family. Young Master He Yuan's fiancée. Hiss, Princess Yao Yao, Miss He Sui-Ching of the He Sui-Ching family of the first-class family, and the elites of the forest Yao Yao race are all here. At this moment, a group of more than 10 figures at the entrance attracted everyone's attention. They didn't even pay attention to what was happening here. Princess Yao Yao walked with a woman in the center of the group of more than 10 figures. The elites of the Forest Yao Yao clan were on both sides of the group. The woman was wearing a pink dress and a shiny necklace around her neck. She was dressed very nobly. The woman was chatting with Lin Yaoyao in a low voice with a smile on her face. The group of people walked forward and made way for them. However, when they walked forward, they suddenly saw Gong Sunning lying on the ground and spitting out blood. This made Lin Yaoyao and He Sui Qing slightly stunned. What's going on? A young man from the forest Yaoyao clan frowned and looked at Gong Sunning on the ground, asking coldly, It's nothing. Princess Yaoyao, Miss He Sui Qing, it's nothing. I just had a simple exchange with someone. Gong Sunning hurriedly stood up and endured the intense pain in his body, smiling with a pale face. He dared to be arrogant in front of the others, but he didn't dare to be arrogant in front of Princess Lin Yaoyao and Miss He Sui Qing. A single word from the two of them could wipe out their entire family. Gong Sunning, your strength is one of the best among the younger generation in the area of the forest ancestors' land. How could you be defeated so easily? A young man from the forest Yaoyao race smiled and asked curiously. I was ambushed. I wasn't prepared. Gong Sunning braced himself and glanced at Wang Xian's position. His eyes were filled with anger as he spoke. He had lost a lot of face today. Lin Yaoyao and the rest followed Gong Sunning's gaze and looked over. Gong Sunning could definitely be considered a heaven's favorite. Someone who could defeat him must be a talent that could be molded. A surprised voice came from Lin Yaoyao and He Sui Qing. Lin Yaoyao looked at the young man sitting there in surprise. He looked very familiar. He Sui Qing looked at little rascal curiously. Ji pa. Seeing that someone was staring at him, little rascal also raised his head and patted him. He looked unusually cute. What a cute little fellow. He Sui Qing stared at little Goody with a doting heart. She couldn't help but walk over. Lin Yaoyao saw He Sui Qing walking over and frowned slightly. She followed closely behind and curled her lips at Wang Xian before following him immediately. What a cute little fellow. Is this your pet? He Sui Qing walked over and brought along a fragrant scent. She stared at little Goody with a face full of affection and asked Wang Xian, This guy's luck is really good. He actually caught the attention of Miss He Sui Qing. I'm really envious. If I had known earlier, I would have gotten a cute pet too. As long as that young man fawns over Miss He Sui Qing a little, that kid will be rich in the future. That's right. Miss He Sui Qing is the most beloved daughter of the He Sui Qing family head. Furthermore, she is going to marry young master He Yuan in the future. As long as Miss He Sui Qing says the word, that kid will have a bright future. As long as he hands that pet to Miss He Sui Qing, young master He Yuan will owe him a favor in the future. Oh my God! When the crowd saw He Sui Qing walking towards Wang Xian and looking at the pet with a face full of love, they were all envious. Even Gong Sunning was looking at it with a face full of envy and passion. How great would it be if that pet was his? Miss He Sui Qing. Her status was much higher than Princess Lin Yaoyao's. Once she fawned on her, she would have a bright future. Okay. Wang Xian took a glance at He Sui Qing. Hearing the discussions around him, he took a few more glances. He Yuan's fiancé, not bad. Can you sell this pet to me, or can I exchange it with something? He Sui Qing looked at little rascal with some fondness and couldn't help but ask. At the side, Lin Yaoyao stared at Wang Xian. She had a deep impression of this young man. After all, he was the only one who dared to reject him. When she saw that He Sui Qing wanted to buy his pet, she looked at him curiously. I'm sorry, I'm not selling it. Wang Xian shook his head without any hesitation. He Sui Qing was stunned. Everyone around was stunned as well. Dui Dezhuang covered his face with his hand and walked to Wang Xian's side hurriedly. Brother Wang Xian, Miss He Sui Qing, the eldest daughter of the first-class He Sui Qing family, the fiancée of young master He Yuan. Her future status is honorable. Uncle, you should think about it carefully. Dui Zhuang, said to Wang Xian with a flushed face. Once he gave the pet to this young lady, he would be rich. Damn it. These few days, when he saw Wang Xian's temper, he was a little afraid. Huh. When he Sui Qing heard that Wang Xian rejected him directly, she was obviously stunned. She didn't expect that this young man would reject her. Your strength is not bad. If you give this pet to me, I will ask Xiao Yuan to make you the commander. How about that? If it really doesn't work, I'll give you some more things. He Sui Qing said with a frown. Who? When the surrounding youths heard He Sui Qing's words, their breathing quickened, and their eyes shone with a fiery luster. Commander, what did they come here for? To join young master, He Yuan's army. Now Miss He Sui Qing directly promised him a corps leader. This was simply a meteoric rise. Everyone knew what this corps leader meant in the future. Not to mention, there were some other things. Not for sale. However, to everyone's astonishment, the cold voice of refusal came again. Chapter 1497. 1497 The Dragon of 1,497 People. In the banquet venue, Wang Xian's cold voice resounded in everyone's ears. The thousands of young men gathered around him. The envious expression on their faces froze as they stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. He rejected the position of a corps leader and the benefits of He Sui Qing's promise. He turned down the opportunity to rise to the top. Everyone widened their eyes and stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. Even He Sui Qing was stunned. He stared at Wang Xian with a slightly unsightly expression. She didn't understand why this young man would turn down the offer that she had promised such a high level of benefits to a young man. This condition of hers was something that many young men could only wish for. However, he rejected it just like that. Was it because he had confidence in his own strength and was confident that he could become the commander of the army, or... However, he didn't think so. This was because as long as he informed He Yuan, he would never have the chance to become the commander of the army. This fellow, Lin Yaoyao, who was at the side, stared at Wang Xian with some annoyance. This fellow, the last time he asked him to help him sculpt, he didn't agree to it. Now, when the eldest daughter of the He Sui family bought his pet, he rejected it directly. Hey, why are you so unappreciative? You came here to join brother He Yuan's army. You are so unethical and still want to join brother He Yuan's army? Lin Yaoyao glared at Wang Xian and pouted her lips as she spoke to him. Wang Xian looked at Lin Yaoyao and He Sui Qing, who were a little angry, and shook his head slowly. I didn't come here to join the He Yuan army. This pet cub is a gift from me. Haha, Miss He Sui Qing, Sister Yaoyao, are you guys here early? Just as Wang Xian was about to explain to He Sui Qing and the rest, a loud laughter suddenly rang out. It attracted everyone's attention and interrupted Wang Xian's words. The loud laughter was accompanied by a terrifying pressure. This was the pressure of a powerhouse at level 3 of the Void interpretation stage. When He Sui Qing, Lin Yaoyao, and the others heard this voice and the pressure, they looked in the direction of the holy tree in shock. The group of over 20 people was led by a young man dressed in white with a dragon embroidered on his chest. This was a green dragon that was well known on the transcendental continent. 2 huge wings spread out, and it had a ferocious head and a huge mouth. The belly was a little fat, and there was a long tail. The entire clothing made the young man look even more domineering. The young man was He Feng. He Feng, the other monstrous genius of the He clan. Although his talent was not that great, he had broken through to the 2nd level of the profound void tier at the age of 50 and was ranked among the top geniuses in the vast region. His current age was only 53 years old. Because his appearance looked incomparably young, there was not much difference between him and a young man. He Feng's strength. He Sui Qing and Lin Yaoyao immediately turned around, and a trace of shock flashed across their eyes. 3rd level of the profound void tier. Young master, He Feng's strength has actually broken through to the third level of the profound void tier. How is this possible? It has only been 3 years. But young master, He Feng's strength has actually broken through. A young man from the Forest Fairy clan stared in shock at He Feng, who was flying over, exclaiming. After reaching the insightful void realm, he was still able to raise a level in 3 years. It was simply heaven-defying. The advancement above the insightful void realm was extremely difficult. What? Young master, He Feng's strength has actually broken through, my God! Broken through, He Feng's strength has actually broken through. This third level of the insightful void realm, young master He Feng, is completely a dragon among men. Dragon among men, He Feng is a dragon among men. When the surrounding youths heard the exclamation, they were shocked. The dragon among men was a great title and honor for humans. This title came from the Draconid Empire. In the Draconid Empire, as long as a young man reached the third rank of the profound void realm before the age of 55, he would be invited to join the Draconid Dragon Combat Division. The Dragon Combat Division was established by the Draconid Empire according to the maturity of the dragon race. The dragon race, when they were born to the age of 55, would normally grow and eat. Their bloodline power could allow them to reach the third level of the profound void tier. And when humans could reach the third level of the profound void tier before the age of 55, they could completely be called the dragon among men. This title represented great honor, strength, and talent. Even in the Draconid Empire, there weren't many who could reach the third level of the profound void tier before the age of 55. Now that He Feng had become a dragon among men, how could it not be shocking? In the He clan's current generation, there were 2 people who had a chance of inheriting the position of clan leader. One was He Yuan, the other was He Feng. Now that he had become a dragon among men, the possibility of him inheriting the position of clan leader in the future was much greater. It could be said that He Yuan was a great competitor for the position of clan leader in the future. Young master He Feng, did you break through? He Suiqing's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness as she asked He Feng. I just broke through by luck. He Feng and a group of young disciples from the He clan flew over. He Feng's face revealed an arrogant expression as he spoke arrogantly. Congratulations, congratulations. He Suiqing squeezed out a trace of a smile as she congratulated. He Feng could be considered a competitor of her fiancé He Yuan. Now that he had broken through, it was a great pressure for He Yuan. Today is both brother He Yuan's birthday and the day of my breakthrough. It really is a double blessing. He Feng laughed out loud and said with a smile on his face. His words were filled with pride and self-satisfaction. It had been a long time since a dragon among men had appeared in the entire Lin clan. After becoming a dragon among men, he also had the qualifications to contend with his monstrous younger brother. All the surrounding youths looked at He Feng in shock, their eyes filled with respect. What's going on? Are there still people sparring here? He Feng appeared and instantly became the focal point of the entire arena. At this moment, a core disciple of the He clan beside him saw Gong Sunning, whose chest was covered in blood and was emitting a faint, bloody aura, and asked with a face full of curiosity. Yes, young master He Feng, I'm sparring with a youth, and my skills are inferior to his. Gong Sunning said hurriedly, It's not good to make a big fuss at our He Yuan brother's birthday party. However, we are very curious about the person who could defeat you, Gong Sunning. He Bing said to Gong Sunning with a face full of curiosity. He was very familiar with Gong Sunning, and his strength was even stronger than his. He didn't expect that there was actually a young man who could defeat him. It's that young man. Gong Sunning looked at Wang Xian with some embarrassment. He squeezed out a smile and said, It's that annoying fellow. At this moment, Lin Yaoyao, who was standing at the side, also looked at Wang Xian and snorted coldly with a displeased expression. He Feng looked over and was stunned when he saw Wang Xian. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Chapter 1498. 1498. I will definitely kill you. At the venue of the birthday party, Lin Yaoyao glared at Wang Xian with a displeased expression. She was extremely displeased with this fellow. Last time, she merely asked him to carve something for her. In the end, the other party completely ignored her. This time, Sui Qing wanted to buy one of his pets, but he rejected it directly. As the princess of the forest goblin race, she was extremely displeased. Upon hearing the words of the forest goblin, everyone looked at Wang Xian once again. They knew that the guy in front of them was an idiot for rejecting Miss Sui Qing. He Feng stared at Wang Xian and narrowed his eyes slightly. These two guys didn't even do a good job. He Feng was a little unhappy. Before he entered the holy tree, he had instructed two of his subordinates to get rid of this kid in front of him. Now that he didn't see the two guys and didn't get rid of this kid, it made him unhappy. Yao Yao, did this guy make you unhappy again? He Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Yaoyao, who was at the side. He asked gently, No, sister, Sui Qing wanted to buy his pet cub just now. She promised him a lot of benefits, but he rejected her outright. Oh, right, he also said that he didn't come to join brother He Yuan's army. Humph. Lin Yaoyao didn't have a good impression of this extremely cold Wang Xian. She snorted softly. Oh, he didn't come to join brother He Yuan's army. He even injured someone here? Is he here to cause trouble? He Feng looked at Wang Xian indifferently with a hint of coldness in his eyes. How dare you cause trouble at brother He Yuan's banquet? I think you don't want to live anymore. The few He clan's disciples behind, He Feng looked at Wang Xian coldly and said coldly, A young man dared to reject Miss Sui Qing and Princess Lin Yaoyao. Naturally, they wouldn't give him a good look. No, we are not here to cause trouble. Dui Dezhuang, who was standing at the side, saw the young masters of the He clan staring at Wang Xian. He broke out in cold sweat. He quickly stepped forward and said, He Feng, and the rest looked at Dui Dezhuang with cold eyes. He lowered his head with a face full of fear and stood there motionlessly. Wang Xian looked at Dui Dezhuang and smiled. This fellow was quite loyal. He even dared to step forward at this moment. He swept his gaze across the He clan's disciples, but his expression did not change at all. When everyone around saw Wang Xian sitting there nonchalantly, ignoring He Feng and the rest, they were stunned. Even Sui Qing and Lin Yaoyao were slightly taken aback, especially Lin Yaoyao. When she saw Wang Xian's familiar cold expression, she gritted her teeth. This fellow's disdainful look made her look extremely displeased. He wasn't the only one who was unhappy. When He Feng saw Wang Xian's nonchalant look again, a murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Last time, it was because of this fellow's attitude that he sent people to kill him directly. However, he didn't know why this fellow was still alive. But this time, since someone is courting death, I shall grant him his wish. He Feng puffed out his chest slightly and looked down at Wang Xian. The dragon on his chest looked a little ferocious and terrifying. Young master He Feng, this is... Everyone was slightly shocked when they heard He Feng's words. Following that, they stared at Wang Xian as if they were looking at a dead man. This fellow was really courting death. Sui Qing and Lin Yaoyao, who were at the side, frowned when they heard his words. However, they did not say anything. You! Wang Xian raised his head and stared at He Feng with slight disdain. He Feng was the one who sent people to assassinate him the last time. He knew very well that he didn't come to settle the score with him, so he came to look for him again. Even if he couldn't kill him due to He Yuan and the He clan's reputation, he could still teach him a lesson. Me? Good. How interesting. Someone actually dares to say such words to me. When He Feng heard Wang Xian's words, he laughed maniacally as a hint of killing intent slowly emerged from his body. This fellow is really arrogant. Based on our big brother He Feng? Big brother He Feng is a dragon among men. Is he trying to provoke young Master Hifeng? How many dog lives does this fellow have? My God, is there something wrong with this fellow's brain? Not to mention young Master Hifeng's status. Just based on young Master Hifeng's talent as a dragon among men, it would be a piece of cake to kill him. When the surrounding people heard Wang Xian's provocative words, they discussed in astonishment. They looked at Wang Xian as if he was an idiot. A guy actually dared to say such words to young Master Hifeng. He actually dared to provoke the dragon among men Hifeng. How many dog lives did he have? Around them, tens of thousands of young men looked over and looked at Wang Xian with slight disdain. When Gong Sunning saw such an arrogant Wang Xian, his eyes revealed a look of excitement. To dare to provoke young Master Hifeng like this, no one could save him today. Today, if I, Hifeng, don't kill you, I won't have to stay in the He clan anymore. Hee hee. After Hifeng laughed out loud, his face revealed a hint of coldness. With a slight movement of his palm, a staff appeared in his hand. Hiss! When everyone around saw Hifeng preparing to make a move, they all took a deep breath. Everyone knew that Hifeng was furious. In front of so many people, he dared to provoke Hifeng. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't let him off. Furthermore, Wang Xian had made the first move to injure someone. Even if he had to kill him, the He clan would have a reason and wouldn't blame Hifeng. Young Master He Yuan is here. At this moment, a voice rang out. Everyone was slightly stunned. They turned around and looked at the holy tree. Ha! He Yuan's loud laughter rang out. He was dressed in a green robe and looked energetic and dashing. He looked at the banquet venue happily. He swept his gaze across and shouted loudly. Brother Wang Xian came from afar. Why aren't you staying in the He clan to wait for me? You are really ungrateful. He shouted with a smile on his face. Wang Xian's arrival was told to him by his father. However, the He clan leader didn't tell him too much. It was just as the He clan's higher-ups had thought. Friends would be better if they were just friends. They didn't want He Yuan to feel pressured. As He Yuan's only good friend, he was naturally very happy that Wang Xian was able to come to his birthday party. He couldn't help but shout out loud with laughter. He Yuan's cheerful greeting stunned everyone around him. Who was Wang Xian? Even He Sui Qing, who was his fiancée, was stunned. She didn't know who this Wang Xian was. I heard that you were in closed-door cultivation, so I didn't disturb you. Wang Xian smiled when he saw He Yuan flying over. In the tomb of the demi-human, his relationship with Long Xiaotian and He Yuan was indeed quite good. He was also the only few good friends he had since he came to the supernatural continent. Haha, we haven't seen each other for more than 2 years. I was planning to go to the flowing sea region to have some fun with you. When Wang Xian's voice rang out, everyone was stunned. Following that, they saw young Master He Yuan flying over happily. He landed beside Wang Xian and gave him a big hug. Chapter 1499. 1499 Sanction. Haha, Brother Wang Xian, I haven't seen you for 2 years. You haven't changed at all. He Yuan patted Wang Xian's shoulder happily and laughed out loud. You haven't changed either. You even found a wife. Wang Xian patted He Yuan's shoulder with a smile. Haha, you two have met. I'm not as good as your brother. He Yuan winked at Wang Xian, implying that he had a few wives. Wang Xian smiled. He had not seen his friend for more than 2 years. Now that they had met again, he felt closer to him. Come, Xiaoqing, let me introduce you to my good brother who I made friends with in the Luhai district. This brother of mine is very powerful. Even I was convinced by him back then. I didn't expect this brother of mine to be able to come today on my birthday. I'm very happy. He Yuan looked at He Sui Qing with a smile on his face. Then he looked at Wang Xian happily. Brother Wang Xian, let me introduce you. This is my fiancée, He Sui Qing. Stunned, shocked, dumbfounded. Everyone around, including He Sui Qing, looked at him with a confused expression. They had never expected that this young man who dared to provoke young Master Hifeng, who dared to reject Miss Hisui-Ching, was actually young Master He Yuan's good brother. Moreover, judging from young Master He Yuan's happy expression, it was obvious that the two of them had a good relationship. I didn't expect this young master to be the brother of Xiao Yuan. No wonder he has such a personality. It was my fault for what happened just now. Young Master Wang Xian, I'm really sorry. Hisui-Ching reacted quickly. He bowed to Wang Xian with a smile on his face to express his apology. Huh? What's wrong? He Yuan asked in surprise. Nothing. Just now, your fiancé wanted to buy a pet cub for me. I didn't agree to it. Later, I wanted to say that this was a gift for you, but I was interrupted. It's nothing. Wang Xian nodded at Hisui-Ching and explained with a smile. Hisui-Ching also smiled. Just now, Wang Xian was interrupted by Hifeng when he was talking. However, this Wang Xian was his fiancé's brother. Furthermore, he wanted to give the pet cub to He Yuan. When that happened, he could ask He Yuan to come over. Fortunately, he didn't have any conflict with him. Hisui-Ching thought to himself, haha, so what if he's here? What's the point of giving him a gift? When He Yuan heard that, he burst into laughter. He was in a great mood. Dui Zhuang, who was standing at the side, raised his head and stared at Wang Xian with his eyes wide open in disbelief. Thigh. He mumbled as his eyes lit up. Everyone around was also looking at Wang Xian in shock. No wonder he rejected Hisui-Ching directly and dared not to give young master Hifeng face. It turned out that he had such a good relationship with young Master He Yuan. However, compared to the shock of the people around him, Hifeng, who was standing there, had an unsightly expression. Just now he had said something. Today, if I, Hifeng, don't kill you, I won't have to stay in the He clan anymore. However, such a sudden change made his expression change. That young man was a friend of his younger brother, He Yuan, so what did he say? His expression kept changing, and slowly his expression turned cold. He knew that he wasn't weaker than He Yuan, and now he had become a dragon among men. It wasn't certain who would be the future clan leader, and he didn't need to give in to He Yuan. When it was time for him to be strong, he had to be strong. Otherwise, the other members of the He clan would think that he was easy to bully and that he was inferior to He Yuan. Brother He Yuan, this friend of yours is really arrogant. He is really undisciplined. At this moment, Hifeng raised his head slightly and stared at Wang Xian with a cold expression. The moment he said that, the surrounding instantly fell silent. Everyone took a deep breath and stared at Hifeng in astonishment. Even the disciples of the He clan stared at him with sparkling eyes. They could faintly guess that this time Hifeng would probably become stronger. The words that Hifeng had just released and the provocation that the young man had issued. Now, just because he was a friend of He Yuan, Hifeng did not care. In everyone's eyes, Hifeng was a little afraid of He Yuan. Although their relationship wasn't bad, sometimes what needed to be fought for still needed to be fought for. Hifeng, who had become a dragon among men, had the right to do so. Big brother, what are you doing? What do you mean? When He Yuan heard Hifeng's abrupt words, a stunned expression appeared on his face. He turned around and looked at him. Just now, your friend injured a young man and even provoked me. This matter cannot be settled like this. Hifeng looked at He Yuan coldly and stared at Wang Xian. Big brother, this. He Yuan was stunned for a moment before he continued. Big brother, if my friend offended you in any way, I will apologize on his behalf. Let's forget about this matter. Forget about it? Just now I said that I wanted to kill him. On account of you, I will teach him a lesson. This is already giving you a lot of face. Hifeng looked at He Yuan with a strong expression. This caused He Yuan's expression to slightly change. Big brother, he is my friend. He Yuan's expression slowly became ugly as he emphasized. I know he is your friend, so I let him off. Don't ask about this, little brother. Hifeng said faintly to He Yuan. The conversation between He Feng and the He Yuan brothers caused everyone to hold their breaths as they watched this scene with some fear. The confrontation between the two most outstanding disciples of the He clan, they didn't dare to say a word. Even the Lin Yao and He clan disciples and He Sui Qing didn't dare to interrupt. Big brother, today is my birthday. What if I say that I must protect him today? He Yuan's expression also slowly turned cold as he spoke in a deep voice. He Yuan, in other times I always let you win, but this time I won't let you win. If he dares to provoke me, he will have to pay the price. He Feng's expression also turned cold as he stared at He Yuan. I, He Feng, am a dragon among men. Not just anyone can provoke me. He Feng's domineering attitude caused He Yuan's expression to turn slightly ugly. He stood there and stared at him. Move aside. You are not my match now. He Feng took a step forward. He Yuan, move aside. This kid is too arrogant. It's fine, even if big brother, He Feng taught him a lesson. It's just little brother He Yuan. Don't get involved. Big brother, He Feng won't do anything to him. Some of the He clan's disciples who were close to He Feng spoke up when they saw how domineering He Feng was. Obviously, there were already disciples who supported the dragon-like He Feng. Their words caused He Yuan's expression to change drastically. Brother He Yuan, I'll give you a way out. This is the law enforcement pavilion's token. I've just joined the law enforcement pavilion. At this moment, He Feng took out a token. He squinted his eyes and looked at Wang Xian. I have the right to punish him for daring to make a move in the He clan's territory. You can't protect him either. He took out the token from the law enforcement pavilion. Although it was to give He Yuan a way out, it was a different attitude. I won't let this guy off today. Chapter 1500. 1500 A Dragon Among 1,500 People. The golden law-enforcing decree was in He Feng's hands. The law-enforcing pavilion was the only law-enforcing department of the He clan. It was able to understand any movement in the He clan's forest. The law-enforcing pavilion held a very important position in the He clan, just like He Feng. Even if he wanted to do something in secret, he had to inform the law-enforcing pavilion. Unless the clan leader and the clan elder spoke, no one could stop or refuse the law-enforcing pavilion's law-enforcing decree. He Yuan looked at the law enforcement order, and his face turned gloomy. He took a deep breath. Punish me? Hee. I would like to see how you will punish me. Wang Xian patted He Yuan's shoulder and looked at He Feng with a smile. He spoke coldly with a calm expression. Brother Wang Xian, you. He Yuan looked at Wang Xian and frowned. If He Feng really had a conflict with Wang Xian, regardless of the outcome, it was not what he wanted to see. If He Feng was at a disadvantage, he would definitely seek revenge. Of course, He Feng would not be at a disadvantage either. With his current strength and the existence of a dragon among men, there were less than 10 people in the vast region who could match up to him. Haha, arrogant. I have to say, you are really arrogant. I would like to see what qualifications a guy from that tiny place in the Luhai region has to be arrogant. He Feng laughed out loud, and the aura from his body was slowly released. Brother Wang Xian. He Yuan felt the terrifying aura from He Feng, and his expression changed slightly. He hurriedly pulled Wang Xian's body. It's all right. I would like to see what kind of strength this so-called dragon among men has. Wang Xian gave He Yuan a relieved look and walked forward slowly. For He Yuan's sake, as long as you can withstand my 10 attacks, I will spare you. If you can't withstand 10 attacks, I will cripple both of your arms. He Feng stared at Wang Xian with a proud expression and said in a sinister tone. In his heart, he could kill Wang Xian in 1 move, let alone 10 moves. When the crowd saw that Wang Xian dared to challenge He Feng, they were stunned. A guy from the Luhai region dares to challenge Big Brother He Feng. This is the first time I've seen such an arrogant guy. He's just a small fry. He Feng, who came from a small place, wants to challenge a dragon among men. He's simply courting death. Should we retreat? Why should we retreat? Young master, He Feng will kill him in an instant later. Why should we retreat? Around them, the He clan's disciples and some young men whispered among themselves, especially when they found out that Wang Xian came from the flowing sea region. Their eyes were filled with disdain. A fellow who looked at the sky from a well. He Yuan, what should we do? At the side, He Suiqing frowned and whispered to He Yuan, there's nothing I can do. He Feng's strength has broken through, and he has become a dragon among men. Today, he will not let this matter rest. He Yuan clenched his fists and felt a little powerless. At this moment, he was no match for He Feng. He could only wait for Wang Xian's injuries to be healed. A piece of trash. I'll give you a chance to make the first move. He Feng stared at Wang Xian and said with disdain, if it wasn't for He Yuan, he would have killed this guy instantly. Wang Xian looked at He Feng, who was looking down at him arrogantly. A hint of disdain appeared in his eyes. He waved his arm and 2 gray palms attacked He Feng directly. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. When He Feng saw Wang Xian's casual attack, his eyes turned colder. He moved the staff in his hand slightly. He waved his arm gently as well. Numerous thorns attacked Wang Xian. Bang! Bang! However, when the thorns collided with the 2 palms, the thorns were destroyed as if they had never appeared. He Feng was slightly stunned. He was clearly a little stunned. Looking at the palm that had already arrived in front of him, his face sank. HMPH, you still have some ability. As he spoke, he waved his scepter. Numerous thorns seemed to come from the void as they twined around his palm. Pooh, pooh, pooh. However, the moment the thorns touched his palm, they were also destroyed. His palm charged forward once again. What? This time, He Feng's pupils constricted slightly, and a hint of shock appeared on his face. The staff in his hand made a final attempt to block the attack. Pa! A crisp sound rang out as his palm smashed the staff into pieces, landing directly on He Feng's arms. Ah! A painful scream came directly from He Feng's mouth, accompanied by streams of blood flowing out. His body flew backward. The whole process took less than a second. He Yuan, who had already taken out the pills to treat Wang Xian, turned stiff. Everyone around looked ahead in a daze. It seemed that the plot was completely opposite to what they had imagined. How is this possible? A He clan disciple couldn't help but exclaim in shock and growled in disbelief. Shouldn't the one screaming and flying backwards be the young man? How could it be He Feng? With one move, He Feng was sent flying backwards while screaming in agony. Wasn't he a dragon among men? Dragon among men. Wang Xian revealed a mocking expression on his face as he smiled faintly. On my arm. You actually crippled my arm. I'm going to kill you. He Feng, whose body was trembling on the ground, revealed a ferocious expression as he growled loudly. His voice spread across a few kilometers. He staggered to his feet ferociously as he stared at Wang Xian with blood-red eyes. Kill me? Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian turned cold as well. He waved his arm. A grayish energy attacked him once again. You! Seeing that Wang Xian was attacking him again, He Feng's eyes revealed a look of fear. He gritted his teeth as his body emitted a bright light. Bang! Ah! However, the terrifying force caused his body to fly backward again. He widened his eyes and spat out blood. I'll spare your life for the sake of He Yuan and the He clan. Wang Xian looked at him and said faintly. When everyone around heard Wang Xian's words, they looked at him stiffly. What happened? A scream came from He Yuan's birthday. Oh no, let's hurry over. Feng Er's voice. Around the He clan, the rest of the He clan were slightly shocked when they heard the scream around the holy tree. At the position of the enforcement pavilion, The 3 pavilion masters were slightly stunned. The scream came from the He clan. They didn't have time to hesitate and flew over immediately. In a room in the holy tree, the He clan leader was drinking tea with a graceful and elegant woman. When they heard the voice, their expressions changed. "It's Feng Er." The woman immediately stood up. The He clan leader's expression also changed slightly, as if he had thought of something. "Let's go." His figure moved, and his figure immediately disappeared, flying towards He Yuan's birthday. Chapter 1501. 150115, a One Clan head. Hiss, this. It's still an instant kill, a casual wave of his hand. His strength is simply too terrifying. How is this possible? He Feng is a dragon among men. How could he be defeated so easily? That young man's strength. Within the He clan at the birthday banquet venue, sounds of shock could be heard. Looking at the miserable He Feng, everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva, completely crushing. A young man from the flowing sea region had actually crushed He Feng, who was considered a dragon amongst men in those empires. How was this possible? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, how could they believe it? "I want to kill you, I want to kill you." He Feng fell to the ground. His entire body was in a sorry state. The pain in his arms and his chest made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Sensing the gazes of the tens of thousands of young men around him, he stood up slowly with a ferocious expression and roared at Wang Xian. When they saw He Feng's slightly absent-minded roar, everyone was slightly shocked. They knew that this Wang Xian had completely offended young Master He Feng. This enmity was completely formed, even if young Master He Yuan was in the middle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as He Feng finished his sentence, figures flew over one by one. The 3 pavilion masters and a few law enforcement personnel who were the closest flew over. They looked at He Feng, who was lying on the ground in a miserable state, with a stunned expression. "He Feng!" The 3 pavilion masters quickly landed beside He Feng and cried out in surprise, "Seventh uncle, help me kill him! Help me kill him!" When He Feng saw the group of people from the law enforcement pavilion arriving, he shouted at one of the pavilion masters with a ferocious expression. "Big brother, it was you who wanted to teach Brother Wang Xian a lesson but was injured by him. You can't blame Brother Wang Xian for this, right?" He Yuan's expression changed slightly when he heard He Feng's words. He quickly spoke up. He was afraid that the people from the law enforcement pavilion would kill Wang Xian directly. "You dare to hurt me? No matter who it is today. Don't even think about leaving our He clan." When He Feng heard He Yuan's words, his bloodshot eyes swept across him and Wang Xian as he growled in a low voice. "Huh." The few pavilion masters were slightly stunned when they saw He Feng's ferocious and furious expression. They raised their heads and looked forward. When they saw Wang Xian, their faces froze and the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. It was actually him. It was actually this young man. Attack? What a joke! Unless it was the tribe leader and the 3 tribe elders or the ancestors of the guardian tribe. They wanted to kill him. Feng Er. At this moment, a woman's shocked voice sounded. 2 figures appeared in front of He Feng. The woman's face was filled with worry as she walked up to He Feng and looked at his body. Clan leader. When the surrounding people saw the figure, they bowed respectfully and called out, "Mother." "Feng Er, who hurt you so deeply? In our He clan, who would dare to hurt you?" He Feng called out, and the woman's face was filled with anger as she shouted, "Mother." He Yuan saw his mother and father arrive, and a bitter expression appeared on his face. He didn't expect that this matter would be so big. "Who dares to hurt my son? Stand out." The woman's face revealed a cold, murderous aura, and she looked forward and shouted sternly. Her voice caused everyone around to be shocked. "It's done." The moment the woman finished her sentence, the He clan leader behind her said faintly, his gaze swept over Hifeng, and then looked at Wang Xian. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "Brother Wang Xian, my eldest son is insensible. Don't mind him." What? However, the words of the He clan leader stunned everyone present. Even the woman, Hifeng, and He Yuan looked at him in astonishment. What was going on? His eldest son was severely injured. Not only did the He clan leader not take revenge for him, he even blamed Hifeng. It's all right, He clan leader. I was too harsh. Wang Xian smiled at the He clan leader and said, "It's all right. Let this kid know that there's always someone better. Hee hee." The He clan leader smiled and looked at He Yuan. "Little Yuan, you've made a good friend. Get along well. Take phone or away. Don't embarrass yourself here." Finally, He tribe leader looked at Hifeng and said to the woman, "Father." Hifeng looked at his father in disbelief and slightly opened his mouth to call out, "Husband, this." The woman also looked at her husband in shock. She didn't understand why he didn't punish her son after he was beaten. "Take him away." He tribe leader didn't say anything. He waved his arm and a thorn wrapped around Hifeng. The woman saw his expression and nodded slowly. "Yuan, enjoy your birthday," she said to He Yuan and left immediately. Seeing He tribe leader take Hifeng away without saying anything, everyone around was shocked. What the hell was going on? Hifeng was beaten up so badly, yet clan leader, he didn't say anything. Something was strange. "Brother Wang Xian, have you met my father? And your strength is so abnormal." He Yuan didn't expect things to end like this. He stared at Wang Xian with his eyes wide open and asked in shock, "I met him a few days ago. Uncle is a good person." Wang Xian nodded with a smile on his face. No wonder. My father must have seen your strength and didn't say anything. I really didn't expect that when we first fought, the gap between us wasn't that big. Now the gap between us is huge. How did you cultivate, you monster?" He Yuan patted Wang Xian's shoulder heavily and asked in shock, "Maybe this is talent." Wang Xian smiled. Everyone around swallowed a mouthful of saliva and stared at Wang Xian in astonishment. From the few words of the He clan leader, they could tell how much importance the He clan leader placed on Wang Xian. He didn't even blame his own son for being injured. One could imagine how much recognition the He clan leader had for his strength. Perhaps the He clan leader even wanted to pull him into the He clan. Everyone was speculating in their hearts as their eyes sparkled. Everyone had memorized Wang Xian's figure in their minds. This person was someone who could even injure the He clan's young master without any problems. "Young Master Wang Xian, your strength is so strong. If you were placed in the vast region, no one in your generation would be able to defeat you. You're too powerful." He Suiqing, who was standing at the side, also walked over in slight shock and said to Wang Xian, "No wonder he was able to be good friends with the proud He Yuan. It turned out that his talent was so terrifying." "Hee, you don't have to praise me like that. Today is He Yuan's birthday. Happy birthday. This is the gift I prepared for you." Wang Xian smiled and gave Little Rascal to He Yuan as he spoke. "Wow, Little Rascal. I just want to buy this pet of young Master Wang Xian. Now that he has given it to you, do you think you can?" When He Suiqing saw Wang Xian giving Little Rascal to He Yuan, she pulled He Yuan's arm coquettishly. When He Yuan saw his fiancée acting coquettishly to him, he was in a good mood. He reached out and took Little Rascal. "Of course not," he said with a smile on his face. However, before he could finish his sentence, the expression on his face became interesting. He widened his eyes and sized up Little Rascal. His eyes revealed a shocked expression. "Maybe no." He spat out 4 words softly. His answer caused He Suiqing to be slightly stunned. Everyone around him was also stunned. Chapter 1502. 1502 Level 7 Void Interpretation Beast Cubs Shock Probably not. He Yuan's answer shocked everyone around him. He Yuan and He Sui-Ching were not related by marriage, but they met at a gathering and later became a couple. He Sui-Ching's family and He family naturally did not have any objections to their marriage, but were happy to see it. The relationship between the two of them was very good. He Sui-Ching asked He Yuan for something, and he would not refuse. However, now he actually directly rejected He Sui-Ching. This caused everyone's faces to be filled with astonishment. At this moment, at the height of more than 1,000 meters from the holy tree in a wooden house, the He clan's patriarch and the woman brought He Feng into the room and took out some medicinal pills to treat his injuries. Father, He Feng looked at his father and cried out in a slightly aggrieved manner. He was a little unhappy and didn't understand what his father had done just now. Look at this injury. His arm was directly crippled, and his attack was so heavy. There's also the injury on his chest. He only needs half a month to recover. Husband, who is that young man? Are you going to let our Feng off just like that? The woman at the side looked at He Feng's wound and asked her husband with some heartache. He is not young anymore. His heart is not broad. He is not allowed to leave the He clan's forest for 5 years. The He clan leader coldly glanced at He Feng and coldly said, "Grounded for 5 years? Father, why?" He Feng looked at his father with some unwillingness and asked with an embarrassed expression, "Husband, why did you ground Feng?" The woman was also slightly stunned as she frowned and asked the He clan leader, "Why, it was you who sent people to assassinate him a few days ago, right?" The He clan leader looked at He Feng with a dignified expression. He Feng was slightly stunned as he slowly lowered his head. "This child is a monster." The He clan leader's eyes flickered as he spat out a few words. He hesitated for a moment before he gently waved his arm towards the holy tree. Buzz! An image appeared in front of them. The image was the scene from He Yuan's birthday party. It was so vivid that even the voices could be heard. This was the image that they obtained with the help of the holy tree's power. In the image, Wang Xian had just given Little Rascal to He Yuan. He Yuan had rejected He Sui-Ching. Little Yuanyu, 7th level of the see-through realm. It's actually the pup of a 7th level see-through realm ferocious beast. Oh my God, Brother Wang Xianyu? However, just as the He clan leader was about to speak, a voice came from the screen, causing him to be completely stunned. In the birthday banquet, He Yuan widened his eyes and stared at Wang Xian with excitement. He exclaimed in disbelief, What? What? However, his voice caused the expressions of the tens of thousands of people around him to show shock. 7th level void interpretation. He Sui-Ching was also stunned. He opened his mouth slightly and looked at Little Goody in He Yuan's hand. Little Yuan, are you saying that this is a 7th level void interpretation, young vicious beast? She couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. The value of a 7th level void interpretation, young vicious beast, was clear to everyone. Humans, demonic beasts, and vicious beasts were very different. Humans didn't have a bloodline, but it could be said that their potential was limitless. Demon beasts and dire beasts had bloodlines, but there were also differences between demon beast cubs and dire beast cubs. Demon beasts understood human nature and had higher intelligence, just like the forest fairy race. They lived together with the He clan and had a level 7 insightful void bloodline. In theory, as long as the members of the forest fairy race had enough resources, they could break through to level 7 insightful void. However, that was not the case. The child of a forest fairy at the 7th level of the profound void tier and a forest fairy at the 7th level of the profound void tier would definitely be able to advance to the 7th level of the profound void tier in the future. However, the child of a forest fairy at the 9th level of the extraordinary realm and a forest fairy at the 9th level of the extraordinary realm might not be able to advance to the 7th level of the profound void tier. Even if they could, it would be exceptionally difficult. This was because their parents' bloodline had not reached the peak of the bloodline. Children born before reaching the peak would have flaws. Because of the inheritance of the bloodline, the power that their parents did not comprehend would be passed on to the next generation, making it even harder to comprehend. As time passed on, the bloodline would become even thinner. It would be even harder for them to reach the 7th level of the profound void tier. It was just like how the forest, demon, fairy, and demon beast clan had a royal family and a princess. Their royal family was the purest bloodline keeper. As long as they had the resources, they could break through. As for the other ordinary members, they needed to comprehend the power in their bloodlines. This process of comprehension was only slightly easier than that of humans. If not for this situation, the Dragon Clan and the Demon Beast Clan would have already ruled the entire transcendental continent. At present, there were only 20 or so royal clans in the entire fairy forest, including the younger generation. However, there was another way for demon beasts to pass on their bloodlines. That was, demon beasts whose bloodlines had reached the peak could preserve their bloodlines before they died and leave them to their own kind. There were some differences between young, ferocious beasts and demon beasts. Vicious beasts didn't have intelligence and only had bestial nature. They would only give birth to their young when they matured. And maturity meant that they had already reached the peak of their bloodlines. In other words, as long as this young, vicious beast had enough resources, it would be able to advance to the 7th level of the profound void tier. One could imagine the value of a 7th level profound void tier young vicious beast. That's right, it's the 7th level of the see-through realm. As a beast tamer, I can't be wrong. He Yuan stared at Little Rascal with a fiery gaze. A young beast at the 7th level of the see-through realm was an existence that could grow to the level of his father in the future. A young beast at the 7th level of the see-through realm was a treasure to him and even to the He clan. Brother Wang Xian, this is really for me. He Yuan asked Wang Xian excitedly. What do you think? I've already given it away. Wang Xian smiled. Take it. I'll have to trouble you to find someone for me in a few days. Huh. He Yuan was slightly taken aback before he continued. This is too valuable. It's too valuable. All right, take it if you want. You're welcome. Wang Xian shook his head nonchalantly. My. To master He Yuan, a 7th level pup, this is bullshit. All the young people around felt that the world was a little crazy, and their bodies trembled as they looked at it. He Yuan pursed his lips and looked at Wang Xian. Then I'll take it. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. This. He Sui Qing, who was standing at the side, was stunned. A birthday gift for a baby beast of the 7th level of the void interpretation realm. She couldn't believe it. Who would be so generous? This made her think about how she had promised a bunch of benefits to buy this baby beast. She couldn't help but blush. Chapter 1503. 1503. How is this possible? A 7th level profound void tier vicious beast cub, it actually. At this moment, in a room thousands of meters away from the holy tree, He Feng, who was in a sorry state, saw the scene on the screen, and a shocked expression appeared on his face. Even the clan leader of the He clan, who was standing by the side, was slightly moved. The He clan only had 8 level 7 profound void martial experts, and this didn't include the Forest Fairy clan. The Forest Fairy clan was prepared to say that they didn't belong to the He clan, but to the holy tree. In other words, the He clan couldn't order the Forest Fairy clan, but if someone attacked the He clan's forest, the Forest Fairy would have to act and resist the enemy. Every level 7 see-through expert was extremely precious to the He clan. Now, Wang Xian had actually gifted a level 7 see-through level ferocious beast cub. With the strength of the He clan, they could definitely nurture it to level 7 see-through level. In other words, the He clan's forest had increased the strength of a level 7 see-through level expert. One had to know that a level 7 see-through level expert could create a second-rate force. Such a treasure was not something that could be bought with spirit stones. Husband, what is the identity of this young man? The woman at the side looked at the scene on the screen with a face full of shock. She turned her head and asked the He clan leader in a daze. She was naturally very clear about a 7th level profound void martial artist, bloodline vicious beast cub. Even she could not bring out such a gift for her son's birthday. This could no longer be described as precious. He Feng was also waiting for his father's answer with a shocked expression. Now he vaguely understood why his father was so polite to that young man. Not long ago, a rank 7 profound void martial artist killed 2 rank 7 profound void martial artists. The towering sky sword sect established the heartless sword Dao sect. With his strength, it is still possible for him to bring out such a precious thing. Although the flowing sea region is small, it has already been unified under his push. Now his age is not even as old as Yuan. The He clan leader looked at his wife and son and said with a twinkle in his eyes, "What?" He Feng widened his eyes and stared at his father in disbelief. "This." The woman at the side was also filled with shock. "The last time you sent someone to assassinate him, he had already killed you easily. In a few days, you should go and apologize to him. His talent is too terrifying. A heaven's pride. Before he grew up, he was only a heaven's pride, but he had already grown up. Even I might not be his match." The He clan leader said indifferently to He Feng. "Gulp." He Feng could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. He had actually sent people to assassinate a profound void tier 7 expert. He had actually provoked a profound void tier 7 expert. No wonder he could easily insta-kill him. When he thought of this, he was somewhat absent-minded. If he was not the He clan's young master, and he did not know He Yuan, he might have already been killed by him. The dignity of a powerhouse was not to be violated, especially for a powerhouse at such a level. So what if he killed him? It would be extremely difficult for the He clan to hunt him down. I know, father." He Feng raised his head in horror and looked at the young man in the picture. He nodded his head in fear. "Brother Wang Xian, you are really, really a brother." At the birthday banquet venue, He Yuan was so excited that he didn't know what to say as he looked at the ferocious beast cubs that Wang Xian had given him. "All right, enjoy your birthday." Wang Xian smiled nonchalantly. "I'm sorry, young Master Wang Xian. It's my fault for what happened last time and what happened today." Lin Yaoyao walked over and apologized to Wang Xian. "No need." Wang Xian shook his head lightly and smiled at her. "If you want to carve an item, I can carve one for you." "No need, no need. I have already prepared a gift for brother He Yuan. I won't trouble you." Lin Yaoyao waved her hand hurriedly. She was at a loss for what to do with Wang Xian's attitude. A young man who could make the He clan leader be so courteous. A young man who could bring out the cub of a 7th level see-through ferocious beast. In her opinion, it was normal for him to not give her face. However, she was at a loss for what to do now that he was so courteous. Wang Xian smiled and nodded at her faintly. This made Lin Yaoyao's face turn slightly red as she lowered her head and sneaked a glance at Wang Xian. He was really a handsome human with a personality. "Young Master Wang Xian, let's take a seat at the side." He Sui Qing invited Wang Xian. At this moment, she no longer had any thoughts about little Goody. A young ferocious beast at the 7th level of the see-through realm, regardless of whether He Yuan was willing to give it to her or not. Even if he agreed, the He clan would not agree. This thing was too precious. "Okay." Wang Xian nodded his head and sat at the side. Dui Dezhuang looked at He Sui Qing, Lin Yaoyao, He Yuan, and the rest with some restraint. He stood there stiffly without moving. "Sit down." Wang Xian glanced at him and said with a smile, "This? He, brother Wang Xian, this." Dui Dezhuang smiled awkwardly. He had never expected that Wang Xian would be so awesome. "Oh, right, He Yuan, this is Lone with Dezhuang. He is a friend that I know in the vast region. He is a subordinate force of your He clan. Can you arrange for him to join your army, or—" Wang Xian said to He Yuan, who was beside him, "Oh, Lone with Dezhuang, haha, that's easy. I remember when we first met, I wanted brother Wang Xian to keep a pet for me. Coincidentally, I haven't found him yet. He can come." He Yuan waved his hand nonchalantly. Dui Dezhuang, who was at the side, was excited. His eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. Raising a pet for young Master He Yuan. Young Master He Yuan was a beast tamer. He was equivalent to young Master He Yuan's trusted aide. One step to the sky, one step to the sky. Thank you, young Master He. Thank you, young Master He. I've long heard that young Master He is extraordinary. It's as if he is the reincarnation of a god. Now, it seems like that's really the case. He's as handsome as brother Wang Xian. Dui Dezhuang flattered him excitedly. "Haha, brother Wang Xian, this friend of yours is quite interesting." He Yuan laughed out loud. Around them, Dui Jiang, Yuan Sun and Dui Dezhuang's fiancée, Lu Lianjin, widened their eyes when they saw the scene. They had never expected that Dui Dezhuang, who they had always looked down on and even allowed others to bully him, would actually soar to the sky. In the future, he would be a person from a completely different world from them. In the future, the One Tree Dezhuang, this fatty whom they looked down on, would actually become an existence that they needed to look up to. All of this was because of that incomparably mysterious youth. A single sentence could change a person's fate, and a single sentence could make one fly over the dragon gate. The gazes of everyone around were filled with reverence. Chapter 1504. 1504. 1504. He Yuan's birthday banquet continued. Tens of thousands of young people congratulated him once again. At the same time, He Yuan announced the selection of members for the establishment of the army. In the next few days, 100 of the most outstanding young people would be selected to enter He Yuan's army. Each young man would have a beast pet of the profound void tier. In comparison, the most enviable person this time was Lone with Dezhuang. He had become the most popular person by young Master He Yuan's side in a single leap. It could be said that he had soared into the sky. Everyone in Nanling City had to be respectful to him when they saw him. Wang Xian's appearance had also shocked many people, especially He Feng, who had easily defeated a dragon among men. He had given He Yuan a ferocious beast cub with a level 7 bloodline of the insightful void tier. When this news spread out, it shocked the entire He clan's forest. Everyone was filled with curiosity and surprise towards this young man named Wang Xian. The entire He clan's forest was discussing the matter between Wang Xian and He Yuan. Brother Wang Xian, are you here to look for someone in the vast region? That Miss Ling Jian. On the second day, in a house on the He clan's holy tree, He Yuan looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. In the room, Lin Yao Yao and He Sui Qing were also looking at him with sparkling eyes. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Brother Wang Xian, what's going on between you and Miss Ling Jian? He Yuan looked at him curiously and asked. It's a long story. Wang Xian shook his head bitterly. All right, Brother Wang Xian. Do you have a portrait of Miss Ling Jian? I'll tell my father to use the He clan's power to search for her. He Yuan nodded. Seeing his expression, he did not ask any further. I'll have to trouble the He clan. As long as you have all the information about her, tell me everything. Wang Xian said to him. All right, don't worry, brother. Although our He clan is not the strongest in the vast region, the information we have is pretty good. We will definitely do our best. As He Yuan spoke, he patted his shoulder. You don't have to be too sad. I will bring you around the He clan's forest for the next few days. The scenery and places of our He clan's forest cannot be compared to the human demon graveyard. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly. In the next few days, He Yuan, He Sui Qing, and the rest accompanied Wang Xian around the He clan's forest. As for the He clan, under the orders of the clan leader, they mobilized all the forces of the He clan to look for Ling Jian. Wang Xian waited quietly for the news every day. The vast area was too vast. Looking for a person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. However, with the He clan around, he could still find some information. Wang Xian lived in a separate courtyard. In the middle, He Feng came to apologize. 10 days later, the first news of Ling Jian came. Someone had seen Ling Jian but this was more than 2 months ago. This was a piece of useless news. In the next few days, more and more news came, but there was no practical information. Soon, 20 days passed, and Wang Xian gradually became anxious. During this period of time, Wang Xian also learned that the He clan was ranked in the top 3 in terms of information in the vast region. Even if it was a super force, they didn't dare to say that they were better than the He clan in terms of information. It was also because of this that he gradually became a little anxious. 20 days later, he stayed in the courtyard every day and sculpted one sculpture after another to ease his mood. In just a few days, he had sculpted tens of thousands of different sculptures. Among them, more than half of them were sculptures of Ling Jian. An inexplicable worry would surge into Wang Xian's heart from time to time, causing him to feel unsettled. This was the first time since Wang Xian was born that he had such an emotion. Brother Wang Xian. On the first day of a month later, the selection of members of He Yuan's army had already been completed. He Yuan, He Sui Qing, Lin Yaoyao, and Dui Dezhuang rushed over with some worries. Dui Dezhuang could be considered to have soared to the sky. According to Dui Dezhuang, his fiancée went to look for him the next day and knelt down to him. Wang Xian found it hilarious that Dui Dezhuang looked so wretched back then. However, Dui Dezhuang, who had been laughing all this while, had a serious expression on his face today. The 4 of them walked in and looked at Wang Xian, who was carving a statue. They walked over with a frown. "There's news." Wang Xian raised his head and looked at them expressionlessly. "This." He Yuan pursed his lips and said, "There's a piece of news that came from 5 days ago. I didn't bring it to you at that time. Our He clan is looking for Miss Ling Jian Yar's next whereabouts, but there's no news." As he spoke, he walked slowly to Wang Xian and placed the information in front of him. Wang Xian looked at the information and had a bad premonition. A terrifying glow shot out from his eyes. The dragon eyes of light and dark fire activated automatically. He looked through the information quietly. He Yuan and the others who were standing at the side felt the terrifying aura from Wang Xian. They were slightly shocked and couldn't help but take a step back. "Young Master Wang Xian, you don't have to worry. Miss Ling Jian is blessed by the heavens. She will be fine." He Sui Qing consoled him softly. "Huff." Wang Xian slowly closed his eyes and exhaled. His body trembled slightly. News of the He clan. A month ago, Ling Jian appeared in ancient Demon City and was hunted down by some people in ancient Demon City. The news ended here. When the He clan received the news, they immediately conducted a detailed investigation. Due to the uniqueness of ancient Demon City, they did not find any news. "Brother He Yuan, please give me some information about the ancient Demon City." Wang Xian opened his eyes expressionlessly and said to He Yuan, "Here." He Yuan was obviously prepared. He handed over a document and said, "Brother Wang Xian, this ancient Demon City is a very special region in the vast region. The people living in it are all extremely vicious sinners or some cultivators who have committed heinous crimes. The ancient city of demons is very strong. There are 7 great devils at level 7 of the see-through realm. They are working together, and even some first-rate forces do not dare to provoke them. There are more than 1,000,000 people in the city. The weakest among them is at level 7 or 8 of the extraordinary realm. Even the super forces are unwilling to provoke this group of lunatics. They are afraid that they will not be exterminated, and they will seek revenge. These people are very cruel. He Yuan introduced the city to Wang Xian. The ancient demon city was a city built by a group of desperate people. Under normal circumstances, no one was willing to offend them. Okay. Wang Xian responded with a soft okay, and looked at all the information about the ancient demon city quietly. Brother Wang Xian, don't worry. Perhaps Miss Ling Jian, ER is fine. He Yuan comforted Wang Xian softly when he saw his condition. However, Wang Xian didn't say anything. He just sat there expressionlessly. Diu Aidazhuang, He Sui Qing, Lin Yao Yao, and the rest consoled him for a while, but they still didn't receive any reply. The few of them also knew that this was a piece of news that caused some despair. They could also understand Wang Xian's feelings. However, none of them noticed that Wang Xian's eyes had slowly turned black. Chapter 1505. 1505, 1505, begging the devil. Black as the abyss. Wang Xian sat there with his head lowered. His eyes were slowly turning pitch black. If one were to stare into his eyes at this moment, one would feel terrified. In the deepest part of his pupils, there seemed to be an extremely ferocious, demonic dragon that wanted to break free from the cage of the abyss. He Yuan stood there alone, He Dazhuang, and Lin Yao Yao consoled him for more than 10 minutes. When he saw that Wang Xian did not say a word, He Yuan shook his head helplessly. He gestured to the few people beside him and left immediately. A few hours after they left, Wang Xian suddenly raised his head. A ferocious and terrifying look suddenly appeared in his eyes. Even though the god-fiend dragon had a noble dragon body, it still gave people a sense of evil and malevolence. The god-fiend dragon of the abyss. At this moment, in Wang Xian's mind, the heart of light and darkness, which had been silent for a long time, was glowing with a black light. The heart of light and darkness, which was at the extremes of light and darkness, was slowly operating. The black light completely covered the light. A sinister and terrifying aura was slowly emitted from Wang Xian's body. He stood up slowly, and everything around him dissipated. He turned into a wisp of black smoke. The grass on the ground withered at a terrifying speed. He stood up slowly. His pair of completely black eyes were staring in one direction as he walked forward unswervingly. His body was a little stiff, as if he was being controlled. Every step he took, the grass under his body would wither. He walked straight in one direction. Wang, there's a terrifying energy. At this moment, an alarm sounded from the law enforcement pavilion not far away. Inside the He clan's forest, everyone was slightly shocked. What happened again? One of the pavilion masters was slightly shocked. More things had happened in the past few days than in the past 10 years combined. The 3 pavilion masters flew over quickly. He Feng, who had joined the law enforcement pavilion, followed behind them quickly. It's over there. When they sensed the destructive energy, everyone flew over. That is, it's young Master Wang Xian. What's going on with him? When they flew over and saw Wang Xian in such a state, they were slightly shocked. Young Master Wang Xian! A pavilion master shouted at Wang Xian with a face full of astonishment. However, Wang Xian did not respond at all and walked straight ahead. What's going on? Go and call the clan leader and He Yuan over. A pavilion master frowned and said immediately. For an expert of this level, he could only ask the clan leader and the rest to make a move. Yes. A law enforcement officer hurriedly flew towards the holy tree. Gulp. He Feng looked at Wang Xian's pupils and suddenly shivered. A hint of fear appeared in his eyes. Deep, terrifying abyss. Even his temperament was greatly affected. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just when Wang Xian was about 1,000 meters away, one figure after another flew over. The He clan leader, the 3 clan elders, He Yuan Hasui Qing, Lin Yaoyao, and the rest rushed over quickly. When they saw Wang Xian's condition, their pupils contracted slightly. What a terrifying power of darkness! The He clan leader and the 3 clan elders were shocked. Brother Wang Xian. When He Yuan saw Wang Xian's condition, his expression changed drastically. He hurriedly shouted loudly. When he saw that Wang Xian did not respond, he flew towards the spot in front of Wang Xian anxiously. He landed in front of Wang Xian and stared at him with widened eyes. Yuan, be careful. His condition is not right. Even with the profound knowledge of the He clan leader and the clan elders, they did not understand what kind of situation Wang Xian was in. They were afraid of attacking him. The few of them immediately came to He Yuan's side and stared at Wang Xian. When they saw his pupils, they were slightly shocked. Brother Wang Xian, wake up! He Yuan raised his head and stared at Wang Xian with an extremely embarrassed expression. He shouted loudly. Wang Xian's body stiffened, and he stopped moving. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He raised his head slowly and looked at He Yuan. He shouted with a stiff voice, He Yuan, tell me, what would happen if a person doesn't have a heart? Tell me, what would happen if a person doesn't have a heart? When He Yuan heard this sentence, he was stunned. Everyone around him stared at Wang Xian in astonishment. What would happen if a person doesn't have a heart? While they were in a daze, Wang Xian seemed to be mumbling to himself. However, following that, a shocking action made everyone present widen their eyes. They were filled with disbelief. When he finished his sentence, Wang Xian stared at his chest and gently grabbed it with his palm. A sound rang out in the surroundings where a pin drop could be heard. A heart appeared in his hand. This was Wang Xian's own heart. In order to find Ling Jian, he had traveled hundreds of thousands of miles to this place. In the end, he received the news that she might be dead. Coupled with the accumulation over the past month, the darkness in the heart of light and darkness in his mind exploded. He stared at the beating heart in his hand slowly and was slightly lost in thought. No, Brother Wang Xian, wake up! He Yuan's expression changed drastically when he saw the horrifying scene. He shouted loudly and wanted to run towards him, but his father pulled him back. Everyone around him was filled with astonishment. What would happen if a person doesn't have a heart? He mumbled to himself again. The bright red beating heart turned into bloody pieces in his hands. He crushed his own heart. He crushed his own heart. Everyone around felt their scalps turn numb. They inhaled a mouthful of cold air and stared blankly. Wang Xian slowly closed his eyes. His body seemed to be frozen in place. At the location of his heart on his chest, a terrifying power of darkness surged directly into his heart. The heart of light and darkness in his mind replaced his original heart. It doesn't seem to be in pain. Furthermore, I feel that it's even stronger. Boom! Wang Xian opened his eyes abruptly. Strands of dense, substance-like power of darkness flowed out like tears. Gulp. He didn't die. The He clan leader and the 3 clan elders, including everyone around them, looked at Wang Xian with their scalps tingling. Terrifying, terrifying. This was the first time they saw a person crushing his own heart without dying. Even a powerhouse at the 9th level of the see-through realm would die if his heart was crushed, unless he had reached the realm of longevity. However, even if he was in the realm of longevity, with his heart being crushed, there would be less than 1/10 of his strength left. He Feng's legs were trembling. His eyes were filled with fear. He was desperately asking himself why he had offended such a crazy person in the past. No, he was a crazy monster. bloom in the darkness, and be eternal in the slaughter. At this moment, Wang Xian lowered his head slowly and looked at his pitch-black heart. He mumbled to himself, bloom in the darkness, and be eternal in the slaughter. 10 words, extremely cold. Seek the devil. At this moment he raised his head. His entire body was enveloped by the tangible dark energy, crazily. Chapter 1506. 1506. 1506. If I become a demon, there will be no demon in the world. 1. Seek the demon. 2 words came out of his mouth. It was ordinary, not loud and not violent. There were only 2 ordinary words. However, when he finished saying these 2 words, his entire body was completely enveloped in darkness. A physical darkness. However, no matter how dark it was, a pair of eyes that were as deep as the abyss was still exceptionally eye-catching. Hiss! Around them, the He clan leader and the rest looked at the extremely strange Wang Xian in front of them and inhaled a breath of cold air. The scene in front of them had completely overturned their understanding. Invite the patriarch over. When the He clan leader saw the strange scene, he felt his scalp go numb. This was especially so when he said, bloom in the darkness and be eternal in the midst of slaughter. His 2 sentences with Chiu Mo made him feel a little fearful. Yes, an expert at level 6 of the see-through realm hurriedly flew towards the height of the holy tree. At this moment, Wang Xian continued to walk forward. With 1 step, he walked for 1,000 meters. When everyone in the He clan saw Wang Xian continuing to walk forward, their expressions changed drastically as they hurriedly looked over. However, Wang Xian continued to walk forward. Every step he took was 1,000 meters. This time, the dark energy in his body did not cause the surrounding flowers and plants to wither. He had completely mastered the power of darkness. Follow him. Activate the formation. Don't disturb the others. The He clan leader hurriedly gave the order. Wang Xian continued to move forward. A group of more than 100 people from the He clan and the Forest Fairy clan followed behind him. They used the formation to conceal a space. Whoosh! When Wang Xian took the 10th step, an old figure appeared in the sky above them. What's going on? The old man with white hair asked with a face full of astonishment. Ancestor, we don't know either. This young man is a peerless genius at the 7th level of the see-through void tier. Please come to us. The He clan leader immediately told all the information to the old man. What pure power of darkness! It really makes people panic. He dug out his own heart and came to seek the devil. Hearing the He clan leader's words, the old man took a slight breath. He didn't understand. He also didn't understand. That direction should be the location of the ancient Devil City. The white-haired old man said slowly, the ancient Devil City. Could it be that he wants to take revenge? The ancient Devil City is not simple. Every single one of them is a ruthless person with monstrous ferocity. Moreover, there are as many as 7 profound void tier experts there. With his strength, he will be killed if he goes there. A clan elder said with a surprised expression. If there was no need for ancient Devil City, they were not willing to provoke them. It was not because they could match first-rate strength, but because they were too ruthless and cruel. We can't stop him directly. Let's follow him to take a look. The white-haired elder said solemnly. Yes, let's follow behind him. Don't provoke him. The He clansmen immediately followed behind. The ancient demon city was more than 500,000 kilometers away from this place. Even with Wang Xian's 1 kilometer per step, it would take him at least 500,000 steps. It would also take 6 to 7 days. However, as an expert above the see-through void tier, he would not be affected even if he did not sleep for 6 to 7 days. Wang Xian's dark energy was completely under control and didn't leak out at all. The people around him couldn't sense his demonic aura either. Furthermore, there were a group of top-notch experts from the He clan following him. No one could sense him along the way. 6.5 days later, when it was close to dusk, a city that was emitting blood and dark energy appeared in their sight. This bloody and brutal energy made everyone from the He clan feel a little uncomfortable. Stop! Don't let the ancient demon city think that we are the ones controlling him. The white-haired old man saw the city 5 kilometers ahead and ordered everyone. Yes, everyone from the He clan nodded immediately. They stood in the void and hid in the formation as they watched from afar. They stared at Wang Xian's figure and were filled with astonishment. They were puzzled. They didn't know why he was here. When Wang Xian arrived at 1,000 meters away from the ancient demon city, he stopped as well. He raised his head slightly and looked at this huge city. As the gathering force of the sinners in the vast region, this city was extremely bloody and vast. The city gate was always wide open. On the city wall, there was a corpse that was more than 20 meters long. It was the corpse of a 7th-level void interpretation beast. The demonic aura was overwhelming. He has stopped. What is he trying to do? Everyone from the He clan looked on in astonishment. Wang Xian stood straight in the middle. Without the concealment of the formation, he appeared in front of everyone. Even though there were only 1 million people in the ancient demon city, there were still many people coming in and out at sunset. Where did that guy come from? His style is quite unique. Ho, he's really scaring people. His outfit is not bad. TSK. With such a pretentious outfit, he won't be able to live for long. Hee. At this moment, a few middle-aged men around noticed Wang Xian. They looked at him, standing straight in the middle, and commented unscrupulously. Some of these people were wearing masks, while some had ferocious looks on their faces. Wang Xian's power of darkness was perfectly concealed. They could not sense his strength. Moreover, everyone in the ancient demon city would hide their cultivation. Wang Xian's attire was not weird at all. People in front, get out of the way for me. At this moment, a group of young men riding a group of ferocious beasts shouted at them. Get out of the way. He's the grandson of a devil master in ancient demon city. Get out of the way. Everyone around quickly moved to the side. Wang Xian was still standing there. There's a guy who wants to die. He's new, right? Then he shall become the food for my mount. More than a dozen young men riding on ferocious beasts looked ferocious when they saw him standing there motionlessly. One of the young men in the middle let out a strange cry. The speed of his mount did not slow down. Is that guy courting death? Where did he come from? Ha! It seems like our ancient demon city has another corpse and soul remnant. The surrounding people were discussing excitedly when they saw Wang Xian standing there motionlessly. Bang! Suddenly, under everyone's shocked gaze, the figure who looked like he was courting death kneeled on the ground and kowtowed towards the ancient demon city. At the same time, the group of young men on their mounts were slightly stunned. Kneeling and kowtowing. What is this fellow doing? Why, does he want to join me? The young man in the middle shouted with a face full of laughter when he saw Wang Xian suddenly kneeling and kowtowing towards his direction. The group of young men around also looked at Wang Xian with a mocking expression. They immediately stopped their mounts and came to a spot 10 meters away from Wang Xian. They looked down at Wang Xian from above with a mocking smile on their faces. The first 3 kowtows to the devil, to pay tribute to the millions of souls that are about to die. I want to be a devil. There is no devil in the world. In the midst of slaughter, eternity, a calm voice was heard slowly. Chapter 1507. 1507. If I become a demon, there will be no demon 2 in the world. Kowtow 3 times before the demon, to the millions of souls that are about to die. I want to be a demon. There will be no demon in the world. In the midst of killing eternity, An extremely calm voice came out from Wang Xian's mouth. He kowtowed towards the front with an expressionless face. He was not kowtowing to the group of young men in front of him, nor was he kowtowing to the huge ancient demon city. Furthermore, he was bowing to the millions of people who were about to die, because he was going to kill today. What are you talking about? Say it again for me. 10 meters ahead, the young man on his mount was slightly stunned when he heard Wang Xian's words. He raised his head slightly and stared at Wang Xian as he commanded. However, Wang Xian ignored him. With his pitch-black eyes, he bowed 3 times towards the front. Bastard! Our young master Mo is asking you a question. Do you want to die? A young man saw that Wang Xian did not reply. He waved his arm and a whip appeared in his hand. Then he swung it at Wang Xian. Crack! The whip landed on Wang Xian's body and was blocked by the dark energy. At this moment, Wang Xian stood up slowly. A terrifying aura was emitted slowly. Huh. The group of young men in front stared at Wang Xian in astonishment. I'm asking you a question. Open your mouth. The young man who was holding the long whip let out a low growl. A ferocious look appeared on his face as he swung the long whip in his hand again. What happened to the guy who was shrouded in darkness? Is there something wrong with his mind? Maybe he has a death wish. Around them, some people looked over with a face full of mockery. The ancient demon city was filled with sin. When they saw a person being killed, they would not sympathize with him. Instead, they were extremely excited because of the bloody scene. Crack! The whip landed heavily on Wang Xian's body once again. A mocking sound was heard as well. Wang Xian raised his head slowly. His pair of abyss-like eyes were staring straight ahead. Fuck, tear him apart for me. The young man standing at the front was slightly shocked when he saw Wang Xian's emotionless, pitch-black pupils. He roared furiously. Roar! His body moved and his mount attacked Wang Xian directly. I have already offered sacrifices to your souls. So die. Boom! Wang Xian looked at the ferocious beast attacking him and let out a low growl. The seemingly solid dark energy on his body began to churn. The one who dies is you, you damn thing. When the young man heard Wang Xian's words, a ferocious look appeared on his face as he roared loudly. Crash! However, the moment the gigantic mouth of the ferocious beast reached Wang Xian's head, a pitch-black claw grabbed the mouth of the ferocious beast. The claw was covered with scales. The pitch-black dragon claw emitted a terrifying aura. The dragon claw tore the ferocious beast into 2 halves. The young man who was sitting on the ferocious beast was completely stunned. Roar! At this moment, a terrifying roar suddenly came from in front of him. The roar was filled with a brutal and bloody aura. It was as though a demon had returned from the abyss. The terrifying dark energy rushed towards the surroundings. The young man widened his eyes and stared in front of him in disbelief. Ah! Following that, a terrifying scream sounded. The young man widened his eyes and stared at his body, his expression filled with fear. The terrifying dark energy rushed towards him. His body, his flesh, and blood actually slowly melted, as if they were slowly being devoured by the darkness. He screamed in horror. Roar! Another roar was heard. A gigantic creature appeared in front of the ancient demon city. A black, dragon-scaled, demonic dragon that was nearly 100 meters in size appeared. Its entire body was filled with terror. Waves of dark energy surrounded the body of the demonic dragon. Its pitch-black dragon head, claws, body, and tail were not ferocious, but they gave off a brutal aura. Boom! Wang Xian, who had completely transformed into the dark demon dragon, swept his dragon claws at everyone around him who was filled with shock. What kind of monster is this? Run! 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 The person who was taunting them earlier was filled with shock and panic. From the first whistle, they had a bad premonition. However, everything happened too quickly. The dozen or so young men who bore the brunt of the attack turned into dry bones with their mouths wide open. Ah! However, the miserable shrieks rang out in an instant. The hundreds of people around them were corroded by the dark energy and died. The descent of the demonic dragon brought about destruction. If Wang Xian became a demon, the demons in the world would not be qualified to become a demon. Just like how, if I became a demon, there would be no demons in the world. Roar! The 100-meter long body of the demon dragon stared at the city in front of him emotionlessly with its dragon eyes. It charged forward with a violent aura. What's the situation? What is that thing? Early warning, early warning. There are powerful creatures attacking our ancient demon city. You are courting death. How dare you come to our ancient demon city to cause trouble? On the city wall, the city guards looked at the commotion outside. They stared at Wang Xian, who was 100 meters tall, with a face full of shock as they shouted loudly. Boom! Before they could finish their words, Wang Xian's terrifying figure rammed toward the city wall with brute force. It was the strength of his physical body. He rammed toward the city wall that was a few 100 meters tall and a few tens of meters thick. Under the horrified gazes of the ancient demon city, the entire city wall was smashed open. The city guards on top of it died instantly. A month ago, someone from your ancient demon city surrounded and attacked a woman. Today, all of you will die. Wang Xian rushed over and spat out cruel words. His voice covered the entire ancient demon city. This caused everyone in the ancient demon city who didn't know what was happening to be stunned. Fuck, who is so arrogant in our ancient devil city? Those who are courting death dare to provoke our ancient devil city. Even first-rate forces don't dare to provoke us. Who is so arrogant? Ancient devil city has another corpse. When some people heard this voice, a sinister expression appeared on their faces. In the city, some experts also coldly looked over. Boom, boom, boom. However, very soon, a deafening sound was heard. At the north gate of the ancient demon city, Wang Xian used his huge body to attack all the living beings and buildings. Without any hesitation, he swept his dragon tail and turned all the buildings into ruins. Everyone died immediately under his dragon tail. This is bad. This creature is very strong. Let's dodge it quickly. 7th level of the see-through realm. It's at least 7th level of the see-through realm. Let's run. Let's run. At the north gate, everyone in the ancient demon city saw the demonic dragon with monstrous demonic flames. Its tail swept across an area of 1,000 meters, and their faces were filled with fear. They all roared loudly and ran back in fear. Wang Xian did not chase after them. He destroyed everything in the ancient demon city wantonly. All the buildings, all the people. He wanted to turn this place into a ruin, a land of death. Leave no one alive. Chapter 1508. 1508, if I become a demon. There will be no Demon 3 in the world. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of destruction was heard. A 100-meter-long demon dragon was floating in the sky above the ancient demon city. Its tail and claws were destroying the surrounding buildings. Those who couldn't escape in time were all killed. In just a few seconds, the entire north gate had been turned into ruins. There was no sign of life. Even the ground had turned dark. At least tens of thousands of people had died. Gulp. In the distance, everyone from the He clan widened their eyes when they saw Wang Xian transform into a world-destroying demonic dragon and destroy the entire city wantonly. A look of fear appeared on their faces. Is he going to destroy the entire ancient demon city? With his strength, it will be difficult for him to fight against the 7 demon masters of the ancient demon city. The voices of the He clan's people came from their mouths. He Yuan looked at the demonic dragon that was waving wantonly in front of him with a worried expression. His eyes were flickering. You bastard! How dare you come to our ancient demon city to cause trouble? Bastard, I will skin you alive today. It has been a long time since anyone dared to come to our ancient demon city to cause trouble. Kiki, Kiki, this is really interesting. The voices coming from the north gate had completely attracted the attention of the devil lords in Mushroom City. The voices were suspended in the sky as their gazes were fixed on Wang Xian. One of them was dressed in a pitch-black robe with a hat on it, only revealing a pair of blood-red eyes. He was holding a scythe-like weapon in his hand as he stared at Wang Xian menacingly. The other one was as skinny as a stick. His entire head was like a skeleton. In his hand, he was holding a skeleton with eyes that were like ghostly flames. In the middle of the room, there was an old man with 2 heads. His body was bloated and he had 4 arms. He looked ferocious and terrifying. There were a total of 7 people. Each of them looked extremely evil. The blood on his body would make ordinary people tremble. The 7 devil lords stared at Wang Xian, who was destroying the city with bloodthirsty eyes. The killing intent on their bodies shot straight to the clouds. That bastard actually dares to attack our ancient devil city. Damn it! Kill this bastard. Kill him. Around them, the people from the ancient devil city looked at the 7 devil lords in the sky and shouted confidently. 7 streams of killing intent had completely locked onto Wang Xian. However, Wang Xian didn't seem to have sensed their killing intent. He continued to destroy and destroy everything. Bastard, hand over your life. One of the devil masters looked at Wang Xian and ignored them. He continued to destroy and revealed a cold expression on his face. His figure moved, and with the same darkness attribute, he transformed into a black skeleton that was 5,000 meters in size. Under the setting sun, it looked exceptionally terrifying. Boom! The skeleton attacked Wang Xian. He raised his head and looked at the terrifying skeleton. Roar! The roar of the demonic dragon and a stream of black flames were spat out from his mouth as he charged towards the skeleton. Roar! Roar! Following that, Wang Xian landed on the ground and roared loudly. Around him, the shadows of 8 demonic dragons appeared instantly. The 8 demonic dragons attacked in all directions. Boom! 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 With a single attack, the entire north gate within a 20-kilometer radius was reduced to ruins. In the sky, the dark skeleton emitted by the demon lord was dissipated by the demonic flames. This bastard. When the group of devil lords and everyone in the ancient devil city saw this scene, their faces turned extremely gloomy. This creature wanted to destroy the entire ancient devil city. Kill him. The 2-headed old man revealed a ferocious expression on his face as he roared. A creature of the 7th level of the see-through realm dares to act so arrogantly in our territory. After the 2-headed demon lord's voice was heard, all the demon lords moved. The 7 of them emitted a terrifying aura as they attacked Wang Xian at the same time. Roar! Roar! When Wang Xian saw the 7 demon lords attacking him, his face revealed an excited expression. His figure moved and charged at them at an even faster speed. Kiki, beheading sickle. Devil's skull devour. Hand of hell. The devil masters shouted softly and attacked Wang Xian one after another. Kill him. Below, the people from the ancient devil city revealed a ferocious smile when they saw the 7 devil masters attacking at the same time. Roar! Looking at the terrifying attacks one after another, Wang Xian did not retreat at all. His dark dragon eyes swept across the 7 devil masters. Waves of dark power gushed out from his heart. He used his physical body to meet them. Boom! Boom! The attacks landed on his body. Dragon scales fell off and black blood flowed out. However, he did not seem to feel any pain. He attacked the only old demon master directly. He opened his largest dragon mouth as if he wanted to devour her. Kiki, stupid thing! When the demon lord saw that Wang Xian did not resist their attacks, A large amount of blood flowed out instantly. A mocking look appeared in her eyes. She opened her arms and made a hugging gesture. 1,000-meter-long demon shadow embraced Wang Xian. Roar, roar. It was as though Wang Xian did not feel the wounds on his body. The demon flames on his body churned as he extended his dragon claws and attacked the demon lord. Boom! The dragon claws penetrated the demonic shadow, causing the demon lord to be slightly shocked. Do it! Kill him quickly! She let out a sharp voice. Kill! The other 6 demon lords did not hesitate at all. They waved their sickles, and skeletons filled the sky. The hand of the abyss emerged from the ground. Demonic scale chain. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly let out a roar. A pitch-black chain that looked like it was formed by dragon scales extended out from his heart. The devil scale chain instantly covered an area of 10 kilometers. The pitch-black chain covered an area of 10 kilometers. What? When the 7 devil masters saw such a pure devil chain, they were shocked. Use your full strength. Don't hold back. The 2-headed devil master roared with a serious expression. Boom! 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 At this moment, Wang Xian's devil chain moved. A portion of the devil chain attacked the old devil master directly. The rest of the devil chains swept toward the area below without any difference. A series of explosions sounded. Oh no, quick run! Let's escape from the ancient devil city. That bastard wants to destroy everything. Let's retreat first. Exclamations came from the area below. Facing the 7 devil masters and destroying everything below, everyone in the ancient devil city was terrified. The attack just now had killed thousands of people below. At this moment, all of them were terrified and wanted to flee further away. Flee? Even if I have to use my broken body, I will destroy everything here. Roar! When Wang Xian saw that the people in the ancient demon city wanted to flee further away, he charged towards them with a cold expression. Chapter 1509. 1509, 1509. If I become a demon, there will be no demon 4 in the world. Even if I have to use my broken body, I will destroy everything here. When Wang Xian saw that everyone in the ancient demon city was terrified and wanted to escape, a cold expression appeared in his eyes. There was no fluctuation in his pupils. His body moved, and he gave up on fighting against the 7 demon masters. Instead, he attacked the people in the ancient demon city. Madman, madman, this is a madman. Run, run, we have to run. Lord Demon Master, save us. When everyone in ancient demon city saw Wang Xian giving up on fighting against the demon master and charging towards them, they were all shocked. Was this guy a madman? He was facing the attacks of the 7 demon masters from ancient demon city, yet he still wanted to kill them. How much hatred do we have? It seems that in the beginning they heard a sentence. A month ago, someone from your ancient devil city besieged a woman. Today, all of you will die. Damn it, a month ago, someone from ancient devil city besieged a woman, and you want to destroy our entire city. Even in ancient devil city, everyone was extremely vicious, and they couldn't help but curse. You want to destroy all of us just by besieging a woman. Do you have to be so overbearing? Unfortunately, Wang Xian had already fallen into a demonic state. He was like a demon that had lost his rationality. All he wanted was revenge. Even if they were to beg for mercy loudly, Wang Xian wouldn't have any reaction. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, the extremely terrifying demonic scale chain swept across a radius of 10 kilometers. The terrifying demon scale chain was at least 1 meter thick and looked like a dragon scale. Once it was hit, even a level 6 see-through void martial artist would not be able to escape. Boom, boom, boom. Ah, ah, ah. Demon Lord, help. The demon scale chain swept across a 10-kilometer radius. A total of more than 100,000 people roared with fear on their faces. A 10-kilometer radius was turned into ruins. More than 100,000 people died instantly. Damn it! When the 7 devil masters saw that Wang Xian was still distracted from killing the people from the ancient devil city while fighting with them, their faces were filled with rage. Killing people under their noses, wasn't this disrespecting them? Kill him! The devil master who was holding the sickle had a sinister look on his face. He waved his arm and a huge sickle slashed toward Wang Xian. Beast, go to hell! The other demon lords attacked Wang Xian ferociously. However, what shocked everyone was that Wang Xian didn't dodge at all. He continued to attack the area in front of him. In front of him, more than 100,000 people from the ancient demon city were fleeing in panic. However, with their speed, they were far inferior to Wang Xian. The devil's scale chains swept forward once again. He is a madman. Ah, no. Sounds of despair were heard. Boom, boom, boom. However, at this moment, terrifying attacks landed on Wang Xian's body. The huge scythe slashed at the waist of Wang Xian's dragon. A ferocious ghost shadow bit the area where his dragon tail was. A skull head hit Wang Xian's head heavily. Every attack that could seriously injure even a level 7 see-through void martial artist landed on Wang Xian's body. Black blood splashed down rapidly like rain. Large chunks of flesh and blood fell to the ground. Especially at the dragon's body, the scythe left a 10-meter-long and 2-meter deep wound on his body. Roar! No one can escape. However, Wang Xian didn't seem to notice such a terrifying wound. He raised his head and let out a wild roar. His body moved, and he continued to charge forward. The monstrous, demonic flames didn't diminish in the slightest. His body moved, and he flew for 5 to 6 kilometers. He waved his dragon claw at the fleeing crowd in front of him. Ah! The miserable shrieks rang out once again. With a swipe of his claw, nearly 10,000 people died instantly. Ah, this damned beast! Attack again. This time, I will definitely kill him. When the dual-headed demon lord saw Wang Xian charging into the crowd and killing wantonly, he roared furiously. The dual-headed demon has descended. His body trembled. A dual-headed, 4-armed demon figure appeared and tore at Wang Xian. Corpse 2 Mountain. Heavenly Devil Soul. Angry voices rang out one after another as Dharma idols were unleashed and attacked Wang Xian. Roar, roar! Everyone destroy! At this moment, Wang Xian was still unperturbed. With a loud roar, his entire body suddenly enlarged. First was his dragon body, which directly transformed into a radius of 6 kilometers. Following that, his dragon head and dragon claws transformed into a radius of 3 kilometers. An even more terrifying demonic dragon had descended into the ancient demon city. What kind of Dharma idol is this? The 7 demon masters saw the 100-meter-long creature suddenly transform into a length of 6,000 meters. Its head was 3,000 meters long, and its 2 gigantic claws were 3,000 meters long. They widened their eyes and roared in fear. Attack! Continue to attack! The 2-headed demon lord saw Wang Xian's figure increasing rapidly. With an ugly expression, he roared again and cast another Dharma idol. The other 6 demon lords did not hesitate and cast the Dharma idol together. In an instant, 14 extremely terrifying Dharma idols attacked Wang Xian. The setting sun was like blood as it illuminated the ancient demon city. The ancient demon city, which was already gloomy, terrifying, and brutal, was even more terrifying under the Dharma idols. However, Wang Xian, who possessed a terrifying body, was like a world-destroying demonic dragon. He ignored the attacks of the 7 demon lords and chased after the people of the ancient demon city who had committed the most heinous crimes. Boom! 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 The sound of an explosion reverberated within a radius of a few hundred kilometers. Even the people from the He clan in the distance were looking on in horror. The 14 Dharma idols landed on Wang Xian's body. His dragon body and claws were dissipating at a terrifying speed. He was slowly returning to his original size. His entire body was in tatters. However, his dragon head was still as big as 3 kilometers. Dragon head, devour the world. Roar, roar. A roar came from his mouth. The dragon head was so big that it could devour the mouth of a mountain. It was going straight for the front. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the dragon's mouth was like a black hole, swallowing all the buildings and living beings around it. Oh my God! It's over, it's over. What kind of existence did we provoke? And which damn thing attacked that woman? Everyone in ancient Devil City started to despair. After several attacks, 300,000 to 400,000 people in ancient Devil City died. When the dragon's head opened, it was as if the door to the abyss was opened. Everything was destroyed. No one was able to walk out of this terrifying dragon's mouth. From afar, one could see that the entire ancient Devil City had been completely razed to the ground. 1 million living beings had all died. Under the setting sun, there was only a broken body and an incomparably shocked Devil Master. Chapter 1510. 1510. If I become a demon, there will be no demons in the world. The millions of living beings have all been annihilated. Ancient Demon City, the ancient demon city with a fierce reputation in the vast region. An ancient demon city that even first-rate forces did not dare to casually provoke. At this moment, it had completely turned into ruins. The entire city, more than 1 million people, had all died. Apart from the 7 demon lords, not a single one survived. This was more than 1 million people, especially since they were all extremely vicious and powerful. More than 1 million people, along with a towering city, had completely sunk into the abyss when the sun set. My God, this is too terrifying, too terrifying. 7 insightful, void tier, 7 experts were unable to stop him. What terrifying strength, what crazy actions. This is simply an existence that can destroy the world. In the distance, everyone from the He clan looked at this scene with faces full of shock. Everyone could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Even the white-haired elder at the 8th rank of the profound void martial stage looked at the ancient demon city that had completely turned into ruins. He looked at the millions of people that had been killed, and his brows jumped. It was too brutal. It was simply too brutal. It was rare for one person to kill a city and over 1 million people, especially under the siege of a rank 7 insightful void realm expert. Kill him. I want to cut him into pieces and skin him alive. On the ruins of the ancient Devil City, the 7 Devil Masters were trembling when they saw this scene. The ancient demon city had turned into ruins. All their subordinates had been killed. However, they didn't stop them. They could only watch helplessly. They never expected that the combined attacks of the 7 of them and the 14 Dharma idols couldn't stop him. Roar, 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 roar. The 7 of them let out a beast-like roar and attacked Wang Xian directly. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was lying on the ruins of the ancient demon city, was covered in wounds. A few of them were even fatal. The sun had completely set and the darkness had completely descended. Wang Xian looked at the 7 demon lords who were attacking him and felt the extremely serious injuries on his body. His consciousness had finally recovered a little. Looking at the scene that he had done around him, a hint of bitterness appeared on his face. He was really too crazy. I'm afraid that my body is going to be damaged here. He looked at his broken body and sighed helplessly. The night has just fallen and the eternity has just begun. How can you die? Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, a violent sound came from the location of his heart. Dong, dong, dong. Along with this sound, Wang Xian's chest suddenly started to throb violently. At the location of his heart, waves of extremely dense, dark energy spread throughout his body. His injuries were healing at an insane rate. His strength was rapidly filling up his entire body. If darkness doesn't come out, how can there be light? At this moment, another voice was heard from the location of his heart. The voice was extremely calm, making one feel as though they were bathing in the spring breeze. It was an extreme contrast to the violent and brutal scene just now. Wang Xian was stunned. He looked at the location of his heart. The heart of light and darkness had replaced the heart that was crushed by him. However, at this moment, the heart of light and darkness was completely engulfed by darkness. If darkness doesn't come out, how can there be light? Then today, I will transform into darkness and see the light after I break through. A terrifying light shot out from Wang Xian's eyes. At this moment, his eyes were extremely dark and deep, while the light was as bright as the sun. He had some understanding of this heart of light and darkness. He transformed into darkness. He stood up after breaking through and saw the light. Go to hell. At this moment, terrifying attacks came at him one after another. 7 attacks that covered a radius of 7 to 8 kilometers directly submerged his body. Waves of terrifying energy charged at him. Is he dead? The 7 Devil Masters looked at the terrifying energy fluctuation caused by the explosion at the center. The ground had sunk into a huge pit that was at least tens of meters deep. There was no sound at all. Brother Wang Xian wouldn't. In the distance, Yuan's face was slightly red as he stared at the center of the explosion. Slowly, he became embarrassed. Everyone from the He clan looked on in silence. The injuries on his body are too severe. He should have been killed. The white-haired old man said slowly and shook his head slightly. Roar! However, just as he finished his sentence, a terrifying roar was heard from the ruins of the ancient Devil City. It stunned him slightly. Roar! Roar! 2 more violent and brutal roars were heard. A terrifying black, demonic dragon charged into the sky once again. All of you must die. Wang Xian's emotionless voice rang out. His violent body attacked the 7 demon lords in the sky with a ferocious look. What? The 7 demon masters who were floating in the sky felt Wang Xian's even more terrifying aura. The injuries on their bodies had already recovered, and their faces were filled with shock. Chop off his head. The expression of the old man with the 2-headed demon master changed as he shouted loudly. Chop him into 8 pieces. I want to see how he will recover. The other old man, who was holding a long blood-red saber, emitted a murderous aura as he slashed at Wang Xian. Roar! Facing 3 powerhouses at level 7 of the see-through realm, Wang Xian was not afraid at all. His entire body was shrouded in darkness. His consciousness became blurry again, and his desire to kill grew stronger. Boom! He raised his arm, and it turned into a radius of 3 kilometers. He went straight for the Devil Master, who was holding the blood-red long saber. The gigantic dragon claw was attacking a human. It was like a human crushing an ant. Break! When the blood-colored long saber demon master saw the gigantic dragon claw, he was not afraid at all. Instead, a 1,000-meter-long blade, Mark, collided with it. Crack! 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 However, the blade Mark collapsed instantly, causing the expression of the demon master to change drastically. Earlier on, Wang Xian had been avoiding their attacks. The group of demon masters did not feel the terror. When the 3,000-meter-long dragon claw fell, the terrifying devil aura on it easily destroyed his knife marks. It was like a devil claw that descended from the sky, clawing straight at him. Destroy it! The other 7 devil masters saw the blood-colored, long knife devil master being attacked. The skulls, staffs, scythes, and blood swords in their hands attacked Wang Xian one after another. Heavenly Devil Dragon Gate. Sensing the attacks around him, The dragon scales on Wang Xian's body trembled slightly. For incomparably huge dragon gates appeared around him. On each dragon gate, there was a devil dragon rolling around, blocking the attacks one after another. His dragon claws continued to attack the blood-colored, long-saber devil master in front of him. The terrifying power of darkness and the indestructible dragon claws made the devil master reveal a horrified expression. Not good. What terrifying power! His expression changed drastically, wanting to dodge the incomparably huge dragon claws. However, the dragon claws were too big. When the dragon claws landed on his body, the terrifying power and darkness corrosion caused his eyes to widen, filled with despair. In front of such tyrannical and terrifying darkness energy, he felt that he deserved to be called the Demon Lord. The other side is Chapter 1511. 1511, I said that only when there is light can there be light. Bang! A loud sound came from Wang Xian's dragon claw. Dark energy surged, and a violent aura filled a radius of dozens of kilometers. One devil master had vanished into thin air. What? Use all of your strength. The expressions of the 6 surrounding devil masters changed drastically when they saw the death of the blood-colored long saber devil master. The 2-headed devil master immediately roared loudly. Attack! If we can't kill a person of the same level, even if we join hands, we can kill ourselves. Kill! The devil master, who was covered in a black robe with a sickle in his hand, let out a cold and sinister roar. His body shook, and the black robe dissipated, revealing his pale body. There was a death god tattoo on his body. Boil! He roared, and darkness surged, causing his body to rapidly expand. The darkness energy covered him, and the material energy caused him to become 500 meters in size. His entire body was covered in darkness, and a sickle that was 700 to 800 meters long appeared in his hand, as if death had descended. Kiki, unleash all of your strength. The 2-headed demon lord's body shook, and the shadow of a 2-headed demon appeared behind him. Green-mouthed fangs, 2 hideous heads, 6 arms. The double-headed devil's shadow appeared behind him, thousands of meters in size, staring coldly at Wang Xian. I don't believe that even the first-class forces are afraid of our magnificent ancient city of demons. We can't kill a person of the same level. Jia. Think I ruthless sky demon lord. 3,000 years to kill millions of living beings. Everyone is afraid of me. Today, if I don't kill you, I will kill myself. Furious roars sounded from the side. The devil masters of ancient Devil City were all legendary figures in the vast region. They were not like those first-rate superforces that had powerful resources and backgrounds. They relied on fresh blood and corpses to step onto the path of devil masters. Every devil master was an existence that made people jittery. Now, an unknown creature had come to them and destroyed the ancient city of devils. Yet he wanted to kill them. If word of this got out, everyone in the world would laugh at him. Who was the devil master? All the devil masters were completely enraged. They unleashed their strongest powers. Kill. An earth-shattering voice rang out. The soaring killing intent caused the entire sky to change color. The real battle had begun. The 2-headed devil attacked Wang Xian. The devil lord, who was like the Grim Reaper, also charged forward. The devil lord, who was floating on the huge skull, also charged forward. Roar! Wang Xian was floating in the sky above the ruins of the ancient devil city. He waved his dragon claw and drew 9 black shadows as he attacked them. 1 against 6. Hiss! Out of the 7 demon masters, 1 has been killed. The remaining 6 are still as terrifying as ever. They are more than terrifying. As demons, they will do anything in pursuit of strength. Among those of the same level, even I don't dare to say that I am a match for a demon master. The few elders of the He clan looked at this earth-shattering battle in shock. The sound of the battle here could be heard within a radius of a few hundred kilometers. Even though there were fewer humans around the ancient demon city, there were still some humans who were looking in their direction with bewildered expressions. Some of the braver ones were rushing over. Roar, roar, roar. A brutal roar was heard once again. Wang Xian's body was waving his dragon claws as he fought with the 6 demon lords. Facing 6 existences of the same level, Wang Xian, who was completely shrouded in darkness, did not feel too much pressure. At his heart, he could feel the endless power of darkness being transmitted over. His entire body was filled with endless energy. However, compared to the energy of the 5 elements, the offensive power of darkness was much weaker. If not for the support of the heart of light and darkness, Wang Xian would definitely not be their opponent. Even so, he could not crush them now. However, his recovery ability and the power of darkness were extremely heaven-defying. The sickle slashed onto his body, leaving a 50-meter-long bloody scar with a depth of 2 to 3 meters. However, in less than 10 seconds, the sky was rapidly healing under the nourishment of the dark energy. Following that, Wang Xian once again fought vigorously against the 6 demon lords. Each of the 6 demon lords had experienced thousands of years of fighting. Their combat experience was extremely terrifying. When they joined forces, even Wang Xian wouldn't be able to kill them. Time passed slowly as they fought. The thunderous sound continued to spread in all directions. The moon hung high in the sky. The bright moonlight shone on the ground, reflecting the horrifying scene of the battle. What a terrifying recovery ability! If this goes on, we will be exhausted to death by him. The battle lasted for a full 2 hours. The group of demon masters used their Dharma idols for the 2nd time, but they were still unable to kill Wang Xian. This made all of them extremely embarrassed. The continuous battle for 2 hours also made one of the demon masters break out in a cold sweat. He roared with an embarrassed expression. "Kill! I don't believe that he can recover from his injuries without using any darkness energy. Continue to kill." The 2-headed demon lord's expression also became solemn. 2 hours ago, the demon lords who were arrogant and unruly were not looking too good at this moment. After 2 hours of intense fighting, all kinds of divine abilities and Dharma images continuously attacked. Even they felt exhausted. The battle continued. After half an hour, the faces of the demon lords became even more unsightly. Dragon country in the palm. Dragon had the world. Heavenly devil dragon gate. Devil scale chain. Darkness millstone. At this moment, an extremely pure darkness energy surged into Wang Xian's heart, causing his entire body to tremble. His pitch-black dragon eyes swept across the 6 demon lords and let out a violent roar. His body expanded rapidly. The dragon gate appeared and the devil's scale chain shook. Above it, there was a pitch-black millstone. What? He still has so many energy release dharmic forms. At this moment, when Wang Xian unleashed all his strongest attacks, the 6 demon masters in the surroundings were completely panicking. Less than 10% of the energy in their bodies was left. Now, that strange creature seemed to be at its peak. Run! The 2-headed demon master's eyes revealed a trace of panic. The 2 heads looked at each other, and without any hesitation, they directly fled into the sky. What? 2-headed demon master, what are you doing? The other 5 demon masters panicked when they saw the 2-headed demon master escape. They gritted their teeth and fled into the distance. Can we escape? I have already paid tribute to all the souls of the living beings in your ancient demon city. Wang Xian leaped up and the devil scale chain soared into the sky, wrapping around the 2-headed demon lord. His gigantic head opened wide and devoured the 2-headed demon lord. Damn it, Scram! The two-headed demon lord cried out in fear. Streams of energy shot into the dragon's mouth to attack. However, they were only able to fight against Wang Xian in a 6-on-1 battle. Now that he had escaped, the other 5 demon lords scattered. How could he be a match for him alone? Under the moonlight, one could see the gigantic dragon head raising its head and devouring the two-headed demon lord in the sky. Chapter 1512. 1512, 1512. I said that only when there is light can there be light. The bright moon was in the sky. From afar, one could see a huge dragon head heading straight for a human figure. Like a demon in the abyss, it suddenly opened its mouth to devour everything. The two-headed demon lord appeared extremely tiny in front of the huge dragon mouth. It was completely devoured easily. Following that, there was no sound at all. Roar! After swallowing the two-headed demon lord, Wang Xian let out a furious roar. The devil scale chain in his hand started to coil around the demon lords. The darkness millstone spun and headed towards the 2 demon lords. Meanwhile, the heavenly devil dragon gate started to block the escape route of the demon lords. Damn the two-headed demon lord. If we escape together, we still have a chance. Now. The demon lord who was holding the scythe in his hand roared with a gloomy expression as he fought for the entanglement of the demon scale chain. However, they had been fighting for nearly 3 hours, and their strength was less than 30% of their peak. Under such circumstances, they were completely suppressed by Wang Xian. The huge dragon mouth was like an abyss as it devoured the demon lords one by one. Ah, I am not reconciled, I am not reconciled. Just because of a woman, you want to destroy everyone in our ancient demon city. You are the demon, you are the demon. A series of indignant and angry roars sounded. Even though they were all demon lords, compared to this crazy creature in front of them, they suddenly felt that they were still lacking. In front of this terrifying creature, they were not worthy of becoming devils. As the saying goes, if Wang Xian became a devil, there would be no devils in the world. The most terrifying ancient devil city in the entire vast region was known as the Devil Land by the people outside, while the people inside were known as devils. In just a few hours, all of them were killed. Many of them were devoured by that terrifying creature. Ah! Miserable screams sounded one after another. They were filled with unwillingness and despair, and they continued to ring out for the next few minutes. Along with the last scream, the entire world suddenly quieted down. There was no sound within a 100-kilometer radius. The entire ancient devil city had been turned into ruins. Not a single creature was still alive. Miserable, miserable, miserable. This was a true massacre of the city, a massacre that would destroy everything. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, a violent roar came out from Wang Xian's mouth. The voice traveled far, far away. One could hear it from thousands of miles away, or even further away. After the roar, Wang Xian fell silent. His body landed directly in the middle of the ruins. His eyes were as deep as the abyss. He scanned his surroundings and slowly lowered his head to look at the location of his heart. Hiss! Not a single one survived. Not a single one survived. This is ancient Demon City after all. It has always been the villains of ancient Demon City who annihilated other factions and families. Today, someone actually annihilated ancient Demon City. This is too terrifying. I never expected that young Master Wang would actually be this terrifying. The hearts of everyone from the He clan trembled. They were the core members of the He clan, the upper echelons of the He clan, and the upper echelons of first-rate factions. Even so, seeing ancient Devil City being destroyed with their own eyes, they were extremely shocked. This was especially so when 7 Devil Lords were killed on the spot. There was once a first-rate force that wanted to destroy ancient Devil City. In the end, when that rank 8 profound void martial expert had just arrived, the group of Devil Lords directly fled far away. They even said that if they dared to destroy their ancient devil city, they would turn their territory into a bloody place. From then on, out of fear, that first-rate force did not dare to make a move. Once they encountered a strong enemy, the demon lord would immediately flee. It would be very difficult to destroy him. However, they did not expect to encounter such a terrifying existence of the same level. Clan head, he sighed slightly. The ancient demon city and the group of demon lords that shook the vast region were destroyed. After today, the entire vast region would definitely be in shock. Brother Wang Xian, how is it? He Yuan looked at Wang Xian, who had transformed into a dragon, from afar. He heaved a sigh of relief and stared at him with flickering eyes. If you guys don't say it, I can't believe that this is just a young man in his 20s. This young man is really a monster. In the future, Yuan make friends with him. The white-haired elder said slowly to He Yuan. It's the patriarch. He Yuan nodded his head. Lin Yao Yao and He Sui Qing, who were at the side, were looking at him with sparkling eyes. They were exclaiming in their hearts. If he didn't fall in 10 years, he would definitely be a legend. The moonlight shone on the 100-meter-long body of the demon dragon. Wang Xian's tyrannical heart calmed down a lot. Ha ha ha! What I seek for the Dark Ones is eternal life in the darkness and eternal life in the slaughter. At this moment, the tyrannical voice came from his heart once again. The emotions that Wang Xian had just calmed down became irritable again, causing him to have the urge to destroy the world. Where there is darkness, there will definitely be light. Darkness will bring death, and light will bring life. Where there is good, there will be opposition. Chaos will turn into 9, and the 2 poles will merge. Darkness will fade, and dawn will revive. Just when Wang Xian was about to lose control, a gentle voice rang out once again, suppressing his violent emotions. One of his dragon eyes slowly turned into light. Ha, what light? If I become a demon, there will be no demons in the world. Wherever I go, there will be no light. It will only bring endless darkness. My world is the world of other living beings. Just as that gentle voice fell, that brutal voice sounded again. It seemed to be competing with that gentle voice. Where darkness comes, it can bring darkness, but it cannot destroy light. The gentle voice retorted, "What kind of light do you want? What you want is eternal life, slaughter, and blood. Roar, roar." That brutal voice roared wildly. "We are the souls of the light and dark Dragon King. The balance between light and dark was broken by you, Junior. The heart of light and dark has already fused into your body. Darkness is invading. If you want to completely control the heart of light and dark, you need to do the following 4 things. Eliminate a wisp of our remnant souls. Maintain the original heart balance between light and dark, and fuse light and dark. Remember this. Get lost." The gentle voice continued to speak. However, the violent voice came directly at him. Wang Xian laid there in a daze. As he listened to the gentle voice, he had a slight understanding in his heart. It turned out that the loss of control of his emotions was the cause of the heart of light and darkness. "Kill, kill, kill. Whoever dares to disobey me, kill them all. Destroy, destroy everything that is not pleasing to the eye. Let's create a new world that belongs to us." The violent voice kept ringing in his mind. Wang Xian lay there quietly with a ferocious expression. His breathing was slightly rushed due to the influence of the darkness. With a thought, one sculpture after another appeared in the dragon claw. When he saw Ling Jian Yar's sculpture, his heart was filled with another wave of violence. However, when his gaze landed on the female sculptures of Guan Shuqing, Lan Qingyue, and his sister, he felt a wave of calmness and warmth in his heart. Time passed slowly. This one lie of his lasted for an entire night. His brutal voice never stopped. A ray of dawn sunlight shone over and landed on Wang Xian's pitch-black body. Roar. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly raised his head. His pitch-black eyes became extremely clear. If I become a demon, there will be no demons in the world. If I have light, then there will be light. A voice that reverberated for over 10,000 kilometers shook the world. When Wang Xian's voice rang out, his body gradually shrank and returned to his human form. At this moment, his eyes were extremely determined. He spoke with a voice that only he could hear. My name is Wang Xian. Chapter 1513. 1513 stepped on the light, searching for the balance between light and darkness. My name is Wang Xian. The 4 words came out of his mouth firmly. His eyes were clear and bright. Wang Xian extended his hand and slowly touched the location of his heart. A strong heartbeat was transmitted. The heart of light and darkness had completely integrated into his heart. However, at this moment, the dark area still occupied 90% of his heart, while the light only occupied 10%. The rest of his body was filled with the energy of the 5 elements. The energy of the 5 elements suppressed the darkness and balanced the power of light. According to the Light and Dark Dragon King, in order to completely control the heart of light and darkness, we need 4 points. We need to remove a remnant of our soul and maintain the original heart. The balance between light and darkness and the fusion of light and darkness. The remnant soul of the Light and Dark Dragon King has been removed and the original heart has basically been maintained. Next is the balance between light and darkness and the fusion of light and darkness. The last 2 points must be achieved or else. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. The heart of light and dark had already entered his body. Once he could not achieve the balance between light and dark. The combination of light and dark would trigger darkness to envelop his body when he encountered some stimulation. At that time, it would affect his original heart. Just like before, he had almost lost his mind and killed more than 1 million people. Fortunately, the ancient demon city was filled with extremely vicious sinners, which reduced his psychological pressure. The heart of light and darkness was still a ticking time bomb to Wang Xian. If he was not careful, he would explode the people around him. If he was not careful, he would turn into a demonic dragon and destroy all living things. It seems like I have to find a way to balance the light and darkness. Wang Xian was deep in thought. Brother Wang Xian, are you all right? At this moment, He Yuan's excited voice came from more than 10 kilometers away. His figure was flying over quickly. I'm fine. Wang Xian looked at He Yuan and the rest of the He clan. He hesitated for a moment before saying, Brother He Yuan, I'm sorry. I have to solve my physical problems. We will meet again soon. As he spoke, he turned around and flew straight to the front. Brother Wang Xian. He Yuan was slightly stunned. He opened his mouth and called out softly. Then he stopped. This young Master Wang Xian should be fine now. However, he should have some matters to settle. The He clan leader flew over and patted He Yuan's shoulder gently. I know, father. He Yuan nodded his head. The new wave is pushing the new wave forward. The white-haired elder sighed slightly. His gaze swept across the ancient demon city that had been completely razed to the ground. He was in a daze. The matters here will soon shock the entire vast region. Let's go. Everyone from the He clan looked at the ruins beneath them and then at the young man who had left. Their eyes were filled with complicated emotions. Some of the He clan members almost worshipped him. What a shocking piece of news. The ancient devil city was razed to the ground in a single night. 7 devil lords were annihilated and 1 million sinners were all killed. Listen to the world's latest announcement. Come and take a look. The Divine Light Imperial City was the capital of a first-rate empire, the Divine Light Empire. It was a huge city with a population of 30 million. The entire imperial city covered an area of 100 kilometers. On a bustling street, a young man waved a newspaper in his hand as he shouted at the people on the street. What Ancient Devil City has been razed to the ground? How is this possible? That's an existence that even first-rate factions don't dare to provoke. There shouldn't be anything wrong with the news from the world. Quick, go take a look and see if a super faction has taken action. Heavens, the ancient Devil City, that city of sin, has been destroyed. Everyone on the surrounding streets was slightly shocked when they heard this news. They all looked at the shops in Harmony World in shock as they walked over to buy the newspaper that contained this news. On one side of the street, a youth dressed in pure white clothes with a warm smile on his face revealed a faint smile when he heard this news. He held a scepter of light in his hand and was dressed in a holy manner. He looked like a priest that was unique to the Divine Light Empire. "Give me a candied fruit." The young man was Wang Xian. He said to an old man selling candied fruit with a smile on his face. "All right, young master priest, 10 low-grade spirit stones." A smile appeared on the old man's face. He passed a candied fruit to Wang Xian and said, "Keep the change." Wang Xian handed the old man a middle-grade spirit stone and continued walking forward with the candied gourd in his hand. Oh my God! The one who destroyed the ancient demon city was not one of the 3 superpowers. Instead, it was a terrifying dark creature. Not a single person in the entire ancient demon city survived. All of them were killed. If I become a demon, there will be no demons in the world. What a domineering statement. Does this mean that, if I become a demon, even the demon masters in the ancient demon city cannot be considered as demons? This is too domineering. Also, that sentence where I say light is light, doesn't that mean I let you have light and you have light? What kind of creature is this? Why is it so overbearing? This strength is too terrifying. It said that the 2 sentences in the newspaper spread throughout the ancient Devil City for 10,000 miles, and everyone within 10,000 miles heard it. Is that creature transformed by a human's bloodline? Why is it speaking human language? Other creatures wouldn't say such words, right? Sky Demon. Heading World calls that creature Sky Demon. It's the only sky demon in the world. It's even more savage than the sinners in ancient Devil City. Sky Demon deserves it. What the hell? Which faction dares to provoke such a terrifying creature? They even dare to destroy ancient Devil City. That's over 1 million people. I think this Lord Sky Demon is too handsome. There's not a single good person in ancient Devil City. All of them deserve to die. Well done. Support Lord Sky Demon. As they walked along the streets, they heard a series of shocked voices from the side. Many people rushed towards the Heading World shop with shocked faces. Bang! I'm sorry. It's all right. A young man walked towards the Heading World shop with a curious face. He accidentally bumped into Wang Xian. Wang Xian shook his head lightly. He looked calm as he listened to the shocked voices around him. He was holding the scepter of light and eating candied haws. One look and one could tell that he was a harmless young man. No one would have thought that such a young man was a terrifying existence that shocked the entire vast region. In just a few short days, the news of the destruction of the ancient demon city had spread across the entire vast region. The reactions of all the places were almost the same as the people of the Divine Light Empire. The places closer to the ancient city of demons were even more intense. The word Sky Demon had entered the eyes of every major faction. Even the super factions had classified the Sky Demon as a dangerous character. The He Clan's Heading World actually gave themselves such a name. Under the sunlight, Wang Xian stepped on the light and headed towards the position of the Employment Association. He shook his head slightly. Step on the light and find the balance between light and darkness. Chapter 1514. 1514, Priest of Light. Stepping on the light, seeking the balance between light and darkness. Ever since Wang Xian left the ancient demon city, he walked aimlessly for 2 days. Finally, he arrived at the Divine Light Imperial City of the Divine Light Empire. The Divine Light Empire was an empire that mainly cultivated the light attribute. It was considered to be one of the top powers in the entire vast region. Wang Xian came here to find the path of light. After staying here for 7 days, other than peace, he didn't gain much. However, the power of light at the location of his heart had obviously increased a little. Although it wasn't much, there was still 5% of it. Wang Xian followed the crowd and headed towards the location of the Employment Association. The Employment Association in the Divine Light Imperial City wasn't located in the center of the Imperial City. Instead, it was located not far from the 4 city gates in the east, west, south, and north. A priest is required to head to the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. The main support and treatment are required. The required cultivation level is above level 8 of the Extraordinaire. A warrior of light is required to head to the forest of the Divine Kingdom. The required cultivation level is above level 5 of the Extraordinaire. Those who are not required to go, come and register immediately. When Wang Xian arrived at the hiring association at the North Gate, voices were heard. As a hiring association in the Imperial City, the entire association was extremely luxurious. Tens of thousands of people were gathered here. Some of them were accepting missions while others were looking for team members. The entire association was bustling with activity. Wang Xian looked at the missions listed on the mission list with a smile on his face. This is the mission for the Holy Medicine Clinic. He swept his gaze around and found a mission that suited him. Immediately, he walked to the front desk to accept the mission. Take the mission token and go to the Holy Medicine Clinic not far away to accept the mission assessment. The staff member handed him the token and spoke to him faintly. Wang Xian nodded and walked out immediately. The Holy Medicine Clinic was just like its name. It was a clinic. The clinic was the most famous place in the Divine Light Empire. There was no such thing as a clinic in the Luhai region. However, due to the existence of the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, the Divine Light Empire had given birth to a clinic. The Divine Light Empire mainly focused on the light attribute. The light attribute was on par with the wood attribute when it came to healing and support. It was slightly higher than the water attribute. However, due to the existence of the ruins of God's kingdom, the Divine Light Empire's medical center had flourished. It also gave birth to a special support class for the Divine Light Empire, Radiant Priest. Radiant Priest was a purely support class that focused on healing and dispelling. Although their combat abilities were not strong, their support and healing abilities were extremely powerful. They were very popular in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. In order to balance the light and darkness, one must first maintain one's heart, and second, one must temper the light. The job of a priest of light is suitable for one. There's no need to fight, just to calm one's emotions. Wang Xian walked towards the Holy Medicine Clinic with a smile on his face. Not far away from the Employment Association was the Holy Medicine Clinic. It was not a very big clinic, and it was barely reputable in the Divine Light Empire. "Hello, I have accepted the mission from your clinic." When Wang Xian arrived at the front of the clinic, he found more than 20 young men, women, middle-aged men, and even elders standing at the entrance. There were a few horse carriages at the entrance, and they were about to set off. Has someone accepted the mission again? It's still a young man. We are about to set off now. Can you set off with US immediately? If it's a commission, I'll give you some more. An old woman who was emitting a faint light looked at Wang Xian and asked him directly, don't we need to take the assessment? Wang Xian was slightly surprised and asked with a smile, "Do you have the strength of an extraordinary level 5? If you do, we will set off once we get in the car. We are in urgent need of manpower now." The old woman looked at Wang Xian and wanted to check his strength. However, she couldn't sense it and asked, "Yes, we can set off now." Wang Xian nodded his head. "That's good. Come, help these ladies carry the things." The old lady smiled and said to him immediately. Wang Xian nodded his head and walked over immediately. Handsome, help me put this in the car. You're just a boy. How did you become a radiant priest? A woman handed him a radiant spiritual herb that was planted in a pot and asked, Why can't a man become a priest of light? Wang Xian smiled and looked around. He realized that there were more women. Among them, there were only a few middle-aged men holding long swords. They stood there with a proud look on their faces. They didn't move and didn't come to help. Looking at the badges on their chests, they were from a mercenary group. Men usually choose warriors of the light. There are very few priests, but it's not like there aren't any. The woman smiled at him. Only a coward man would choose a priest of the light. At this moment, a young man with his arms crossed looked at Wang Xian with slight disdain and said faintly, Li Si, stop talking. The middle-aged man glared at him. Wang Xian smiled faintly and didn't say anything. We are heading to the Holy Medicine Clinic in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. The journey of 30,000 miles will take 4 days. In the middle, we have to cross a corner of the forest of the Divine Kingdom. Let's go. At this moment, the old woman walked over and said to Wang Xian and the rest, All priests, enter the central carriage. We will escort you with the judicial mercenary group. We will ensure your safe arrival. An old man said with confidence. His body moved and he rode on a fierce beast. Let's go, priests and beauties. Let me know if you need anything. The young man, named Li Si, looked at the female priests with a smile. Okay, handsome. A girl squinted her eyes and said sweetly, Ha! Li Si smiled and sat on a fierce beast with her chest raised. She was handsome and unrestrained. The old woman spoke to the members of the Judgment Mercenary Group. Then she beckoned to all the radiant priests. Wang Xian followed behind them and walked towards the car in the middle. The Holy Medicine Clinic wasn't very strong. The strongest person behind it was only at level 3 of the see-through realm. He didn't have the ability to buy an airship and fly there directly. As he entered the car, a fragrance was immediately emitted. He swept his gaze over and saw that there were a total of 9 people inside. Other than an old man with a broken leg, the rest were all women. There were 4 young girls, 3 middle-aged women, and the old woman. Hello, young man. Please sit beside me. The old man with a broken leg patted the seat beside him and said with a smile, Thank you, uncle. Wang Xian nodded and sat beside the old man. The old man only had 1 leg and was holding a scepter of light. There was a long wound on his face, and he looked a little ferocious. What's your name, young man? Let me introduce you. I'm the priest of the Holy Light Clinic and the person in charge of your clinic. The old woman asked Wang Xian with a smile. My name is Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Chapter 1515. 1515 on the 1515 purification bar. The carriage started. According to the old lady's brief introduction, Wang Xian had a rough understanding of them. There were 4 female students. Among them, 3 of them were priests of light who were temporarily hired by the hiring association. They possessed the strength of a level 5 supernatural being. The other female student, who was wearing the uniform of the Holy Herb Medicine Shop, belonged to the internal staff of the Holy Herb Medicine Shop. She had the strength of a transcendent level 7. The 3 middle-aged women and the old man were also internal staff of the Holy Medicine Clinic. As the car left the city, Wang Xian took out a book about the Priest of Light from his interspatial ring. These books were all cultivation methods that he bought when he came to the Divine Light Imperial City. Many of them were bought by him at a high price. The Radiant Priest was a very special profession, and it was also a relatively new profession. Currently, the strongest Radiant Priest was an ancestor of the Divine Light Empire, who had a cultivation base of level 8 Insight Void Tier. It was said that the ancestor of the Divine Light Empire had a terrifying healing ability, and it was said that as long as he did not die, he could be saved. However, the radiant priest had a fatal flaw, and that was that his combat ability was relatively weak. Perhaps even a radiant priest at the second level of the void interpretation stage was not a match for a powerhouse at the peak of the first level of the void interpretation stage. Due to his weak combat ability, there were very few strong people who chose this job. However, a powerful radiant priest had a very strong role in a team. You shouldn't be a student of the Divine Light Priest Academy, right? There are very few male students in the Priest Academy. I don't think you are one of them. Just as Wang Xian was flipping through the books, a female student's curious voice came from the side. The female student's eyes flickered slightly as she looked at the young priest. Wang Xian, who was sitting there calmly, gave off a feeling of quietness. In addition to his extraordinary good looks and outstanding temperament, she couldn't help but ask, "No." Wang Xian shook his head lightly. "Did you join the radiant priest's profession halfway?" The other girls looked at Wang Xian and revealed a faint smile. One of the girls shook her head even more. Joining the radiant priest's profession halfway meant that he wasn't professional. Furthermore, it also meant that he wasn't strong enough. Otherwise, why would he join halfway? Wang Xian nodded. "It's fine if he joined midway. When the time comes, you can follow behind old Hu and help him treat some people who are weak." Speaking of which, old Hu joined the profession of the Priest of Light halfway. Now he is somewhat famous in our holy medicine shop. The old woman said to Wang Xian lightly, "How can it be the same? Old Hu used to be a powerful warrior. If he was not eroded by the darkness in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, he might have become a void walker now." A girl said to the one-legged old man in a fawning manner, "Hee, things are pretty good now. Pretty good." The old man smiled faintly. Although his face was a little ferocious, he was very amiable. He looked at Wang Xian and said with a smile, "You are still young. Learn more." Wang Xian nodded with a smile. The car quieted down once again. Wang Xian flipped through the book in his hand. The rest of the people were either cultivating or closing their eyes to rest. When the girl found out that Wang Xian had switched his cultivation to the radiant priest, she stopped talking to him. This was the world of the strong. It was useless for a person who had achieved nothing. No matter how handsome he was, it would be useless. Wang Xian was also happy to be in peace. One by one, the divine powers of light were imprinted into his body. Holy light healing, exorcism, light shield, light rain, purification, light speech, hand of divine light, powerful healing, finger regeneration. There were more than 10 types of supernatural powers. Among them, there were many techniques related to the use of light energy. It could also be due to the heart of light and darkness. Wang Xian saw the cultivation methods related to these supernatural powers and quickly comprehended them. The system notifications kept ringing out. Following that, he converted these supernatural powers into Dharma idols. The process was extremely smooth as he directly comprehended the 3 Dharma idols of holy light, healing, and exorcism. The car quickly flew in the air and headed towards the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. The ruins of the Divine Kingdom was one of the most important areas in the vast region. It was also a place that all the factions hoped to control. The so-called ruins of the Divine Kingdom was a domain created by a powerful longevity realm expert. It was a divine kingdom created for him to become a god. However, it was clear that the once peerless expert had not broken through to a higher realm. Wancho was also known as a demigod. If a demigod wanted to break through to God, they had to have their own divine kingdom. That area was also the origin of the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Rest for an hour and build a fire to eat. After driving for about a day, the cars outside stopped. The people from the judicial mercenary group shouted at them, "Go out and eat something." the old woman said to them and walked out immediately. A few women and girls walked out immediately. Wang Xian got out of the car and looked around at the endless grassland. "Beautiful lady, I have some delicious conch meat here. Do you want to eat it together?" The young man named Li Si said to a girl. "Sure." The girl walked over happily and sat with the young man. Wang Xian took out some simple food from his interspatial ring and started to eat. "Young man, have some cooked food." At this moment, the old man walked over and handed Wang Xian a piece of meat. "Thank you, Uncle Hu." Wang Xian smiled and took it without hesitation. "Do you want some wine?" Old Hu was very old. He was at least 1,000 years old and had the strength of a half-step void interpretation. He held a wine flask and gestured to Wang Xian. "No, I like tea." Wang Xian shook his head. He took out a teacup from his interspatial ring and poured himself a cup. "Ha ha, young man, with your attitude. You are very close to the priest of light. The priest is not bad too. At least he can live longer." Old Hu said with a smile. "Drinking tea and being a priest of light can calm people down. I don't like killing." Wang Xian said plainly. "You don't like killing? In this world, everyone can't escape from killing." Old Hu shook his head. He took a big bite of meat and a sip of wine. Then he laid back on the chair leisurely. "If you don't like killing, I can tell you a way. You don't have to kill." "Oh!" Wang Xian looked at Old Hu curiously. "What way?" "Purify it." "Ha ha! Purify all filth and all evil." As Old Hu spoke, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Wang Xian was slightly stunned when he heard Old Hu's words. "Then what is evil?" "Evil? There is no evil. Tell me, that sky demon destroyed more than 1,000,000 lives in the ancient demon city and 7 demon lords. Do you think he is evil? In the eyes of some people, he's a sky demon, the most terrifying and evil existence. However, in the eyes of some people, he destroyed more than 1,000,000 sinners. He's a good person, a kind person," the old man slowly said. Chapter 1516. 1516 in the 1516 Purification Bar. "Then, Uncle Hu, do you think that the sky demon is an evil person or a good person?" Wang Xian heard what Old Hu said and asked thoughtfully, "To be able to destroy millions of lives in one night, do you think he is an evil person or a good person?" Old Hu asked with a smile. "An evil person." Wang Xian replied, "Everyone has a judgment. In a world where the strong are respected, good and bad cannot be distinguished. The strong and weak can be distinguished. Killing does not represent a person's good and bad." Old Hu smiled and said with a smile, "Then, Uncle Hu, what's the difference between darkness and light?" Wang Xian continued to ask Old Hu, "What's the difference between darkness and light?" "Ha ha, young man, I, an old man, can answer your question. I became a radiant priest halfway through. Do you know what attribute I cultivated before I became a radiant priest? Darkness attribute. You wouldn't believe it, right? I once cultivated darkness attribute and was attacked by darkness in the ruins of the divine kingdom. I lost all my strength and survived. After surviving, I became an ordinary person without any cultivation. I wasn't even comparable to a child and couldn't cultivate darkness attribute. Later, I changed to light attribute and became a radiant priest. Let me tell you, there is no difference between darkness and light. The difference lies in the controller of darkness and light." Old Hu drank his wine and chatted with him. Wang Xian nodded as he was deep in thought. Listening to Uncle Hu's words really benefited me a lot. Wang Xian raised the teacup in his hand and said faintly, "Haha, you are interesting. You are like an old man at such a young age." The tiger patted his shoulder. During this period of time, Wang Xian had entered a misunderstanding. His heart was focused on the light, and he could not obtain the light. Strength was cultivated by oneself. The so-called instant enlightenment and instant godhood was a complete lie. Focusing on one's heart was the correct path of cultivation. Wang Xian understood in his heart. Some of the shackles in his heart were slowly lifted. "Let's go." Not long after, a voice was heard. "Let's go." Old who kept his things and walked into the car. "You guys go first. I'm outside. I won't enter the car." The girl who was standing beside Lisi said. The old woman nodded her head, and the rest of the group returned to the car. The few women were obviously more familiar with the few girls as they conversed in a low voice. Wang Xian was still reading the books about the priest of light, although he had a deeper understanding of the heart of light and darkness. He could use another method to balance the light and darkness. However, he did not leave. The trip to the ruins of the kingdom of God could also solve the problem of the balance of light and darkness. Furthermore, he was confident that he could balance the light and darkness within 2 months at most. This made him in a good mood. There is a corner of the kingdom of God forest ahead. After traveling for 1,000 kilometers, we will reach the kingdom of God forest. Everyone, pay attention. After traveling for more than 2 days, the voices of the Judgment Mercenary Group could be heard from outside. "Young man, this is your first time coming to the Kingdom of God Ruins. The Kingdom of God Ruins is huge. The forest around the Kingdom of God Ruins is even bigger, and there are many dangers inside. Even if it's just a corner of the forest of the Kingdom of God, it's still extremely dangerous." Old, who said to Wang Xian from the side, "With the people from the Judgment Mercenary Group around, we will be fine." The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group has the strength of a half-step void interpretation stage. A female student at the side said confidently, "This is my first time here too. I want to go out and take a look." As she spoke, she immediately went out to look for a young man named Lisi. "It's good to be young. Young man, your looks are not bad. You can also. Haha." Old, who teased Wang Xian. "Looks are a part of it, but strength is also a part of it." A girl in the car said softly, "You're right. We priests of light have to find someone who can protect us." A woman nodded in agreement. "Hey, what are you guys talking about? This old man is still looking for a wife." Haha. Old, who heard their conversation and said with a smile, "Old priest, who you are very strong. You can find him even if you want to." The girl next to him immediately said with a smile. Wang Xian smiled at the side. "Ah, be careful, be careful." At this moment, a scream and exclamation came from outside. The old lady in the car was slightly shocked. What happened? He quickly walked out. Old, who also frowned slightly. "We have walked this road more than 10 times. Usually, we rarely encounter powerful demonic beasts. Let's go out." As he spoke, he walked out immediately as well. Wang Xian and the rest followed closely behind. "Hiss, it's a natural moat demon. It's actually a natural moat demon." As soon as Wang Xian walked out, he saw an endless forest in front of him. The trees in this forest were not green or cyan in color. Instead, they were black, pitch-black trees. An exclamation came from the old lady's mouth. She stared at a black shadow on the surrounding trees with an extremely embarrassed expression. The humanoid black shadow was 2 meters tall. They only had one eye, located between their eyebrows. The eye was very long and looked very terrifying. It had long arms, sharp claws, and its entire body was covered in sharp thorns. Heavenly Moat Demons, a group of powerful demonic beasts in the divine Kingdom Forest. More than 10 heavenly moat demons stood on the trees in front of them, staring at them with a bloodthirsty eye. 15 natural moat demons were in trouble now. Old, who looked at the more than 10 demons in front of him, and his pupils contracted slightly. He took a deep breath. How could it be? How could there be more than 10 natural moat demons in this corner? No, no. The girls and women behind him looked at them with fear on their faces. More than 30 humans, that's too little. In the middle, a moat demon held a corpse in his hand and was tearing at it, making a terrifying sound. His mouth was split open to the bottom of his eyes, and his teeth were densely packed. Gulp. We were willing to take out everything. Can you let us off? At this moment, the leader of the Judgment mercenary group gulped and said to the 15 moat demons in fear. Among the 15 demons, the lowest was at level 9 of the supernatural realm. Half of them were at the half-step void interpretation realm. On the other hand, the Judgment mercenary group only had 2 half-step void interpretation realm demons. They were no match for them at all. Prepare to escape. At this moment, Old whose voice rang in the ears of Wang Xian and the rest. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, the moment Old whose voice faded, all the members of the Judgment mercenary group, who were holding onto their weapons, fled to the back. This action made the faces of Old who and the others extremely ugly. Run, life or death is up to fate. Old who roared and immediately turned around. Boom, boom, boom. However, just as they were about to escape, a sword light slashed directly in front of them. This was to use their lives to buy them a little time. Chapter 1517. 1517. Under the purification bar. Damn it, the Judgment mercenary group, when you encounter danger, not only do you not protect your employer, you want us to buy you time. In the Divine Kingdom forest, when a sword light directly landed in front of them, blocking their path, Old Hu and the others revealed angry expressions. The old woman could not help but loudly rebuke them. Life and death are in the hands of fate. Don't blame us. The leader of the Judgment mercenary group said with a ruthless expression. They knew that once the heavenly moat demons encountered humans, they would definitely not let them off. Therefore, they pretended to beg for mercy, buying some time before turning around and escaping. As for the hiring, in front of their lives, the mission was no longer important. Today, it was already good enough for them to be able to save their lives. How could this be? Li Si, save me, save me. At this moment, the body of a girl who was standing at the front had already frozen. She looked at the youth who had directly escaped and looked at the ferocious, heavenly moat demon in front of her. Her face revealed a terrified expression. Cunning humans escape? Can you escape? Not good. They have surrounded the entire area. It's over, we're completely finished. There's still 10 heavenly moat demons. Suddenly, when the old woman, Old Hu, and the others saw the sword light disappear and were about to escape, a terrified and despairing expression came from the front. They hurriedly looked over and found that the members of the Judgment mercenary group, who were about to escape, were slowly retreating towards them. The heavenly moat demon is very intelligent. How could he let you escape so easily? Old whose face was ashen as he looked around. His face was so gloomy that it was almost dripping blood. He looked at the old woman beside him. Everyone, come to my side. The old woman moved her hand, and a formation, compass, appeared in her hand. Kill them. Don't let them hide in the formation. The heavenly moat demon saw the formation, compass, appear in the old woman's hand, and immediately opened his huge mouth and roared. Quick, quick! The old woman roared loudly, and a light barrier covered their surroundings. Wait for us, we'll enter too. The 2 half-step void interpretation experts of the Judgment mercenary group saw the formation light up, and a trace of hope appeared on their faces. Their figures moved, and they directly flew in this direction. Just as the Judgment mercenary group fled into the formation, miserable screams sounded. In the surroundings, a group of heavenly moat demons had already attacked them. Those weaker members were directly captured and turned into food. Quick! The Judgment mercenary group revealed terrified expressions, and they desperately fled into the formation. You people of the Judgment Mercenary Group are shameless enough to come back. Seeing that they wanted to rush in, the old woman's face was extremely gloomy. Let us in, there's hope in numbers. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group shouted anxiously. He was very fast, and just as the array was about to close, he directly rushed in. Hurry up! He looked at the demons around him and shouted at his subordinates. Pung pung pung! The members of the Judgment Mercenary Group rushed in one by one. The array was just about to close. Zzz! A terrifying power landed on the array, emitting a sound of corrosion. Do you think we can't break through a level 1 void interpretation array? All of you humans will become our food. Brutal sounds came from outside as attacks fell one after another. Boom! With a loud sound, ripples and roars appeared on the formation. Judgment Mercenary Group, I didn't expect you to be so despicable. Not only did you run away, you even wanted us to stay behind. You guys are really ruthless. A woman saw their Judgment Mercenary Group enter the formation and roared angrily. Because the members of the Holy Medicine Hall were all together, the array formation directly enveloped them. Even the girl at the front was also enveloped. Now you still want to stay inside our array formation. Let me tell you, our Holy Medicine Hall will not let you off this matter. The old woman turned her head and stared at the Judgment Mercenary Group with a cold expression. We only made this decision in a moment of desperation. The members of the Judgment Mercenary Group said with a somewhat embarrassed expression. Let's not talk about this for now. We don't even know if we'll be able to escape this time. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group glanced at the old woman and the others with a gloomy expression and looked around the array formation. Pung pung pung! The void interpretation first rank array formation won't be able to stop us for long. Break it for me and eat them. A violent collision roar came from outside, causing their expressions to constantly change. Father, what should we do? The formation can only last for 5 minutes at most. After 5 minutes, what should we do? Li Si walked over with a face full of fear and said in fear, Hee, a bunch of cowards. Since they are surrounded by the heavenly moat demons, they can only fight since they can't escape. The array can only last for 3 minutes at most. Old, who held the scepter of light in his hand and looked around helplessly. What, only 3 minutes? I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I just took the graduation exam, I don't want to die. A few girls heard Old Who's words and shouted in fear. The eyes of the 3 women were filled with fear. A sense of despair slowly spread. Wang Xian stood there and coldly glanced at the members of the Judgment Mercenary Group. He looked at the demons outside. Young man, you are not afraid in such a situation. Your courage is commendable. At this moment, Old Whose exclamation could be heard from the side. He passed a jug of wine over. Wine strengthens one's courage. It's just a few demonic beasts below the insightful void tier. They can't die, so why are you afraid? Wang Xian said to him nonchalantly. Old Who was slightly stunned by his words and looked at him in astonishment. Around him, the old woman and the 3 women who were closer looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. Young man, you have a solution? The old woman looked at Wang Xian with uncertainty and asked in anticipation. They're just a bunch of animals. Just kill them directly. Wang Xian said with a smile. Kill? How do I kill them? You make it sound so easy. Li Si looked at Wang Xian and growled with an embarrassed expression. Of course, your judicial mercenary group will be the ones to kill them. Aren't you responsible for our safety? Wang Xian looked at them indifferently. You motherfucker. Crack, crack. Ah, the formation is about to crack. Just as Li Si was about to curse out loud, the sound of the formation cracking was heard in horror. Everyone looked over in horror. Cracks appeared on the formation. Young man, if you have any ideas, just say it now. An old man like me can't take it. If not, it would be worth it even if I die. Lao, whose expression changed slightly as he said bitterly to Wang Xian, "Holy light illumination, exorcism, light shield." Wang Xian waved his arm and a staff appeared in his hand. Beams of holy light landed on their bodies. Chapter 1518. 1518 1518's mind was clear. Holy light shone, exorcism, light shield. His calm voice resounded within the array. Soon after, the entire space was enveloped by light. Above their heads, a halo that was like the sun shone on them. Strips of light that were like talisman paper floated around them. There were also light shields that revolved around everyone. The powerful light energy stunned all of them. What a powerful light energy! Old Hu was closest to them, could not help but exclaim in shock. Around them, the members of the Judgment Mercenary Group had shocked expressions. They looked at the holy light shining above their heads and the light shields in front of them. They were extremely shocked. The solid light shield floating around them felt that it could at least withstand the attack of a half-step void interpretation stage powerhouse. Such terrifying light power is probably not lower than. Open the formation. Let the members of the Judgment Mercenary Group kill the demonic beasts around us. The old woman gulped as she felt the power of light in front of her. Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Wang Xian. Yes, yes. At this moment, the old woman looked at Wang Xian with a hint of respect in her eyes. She quickly removed the formation. Kill these demons first. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group looked at Wang Xian with a change in expression. When he saw the formation being removed, he ordered his members loudly. Leader, I'm afraid. The light energy around you can protect you. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group immediately shouted loudly. Roar! Roar! Kill them! Before the Judgment Mercenary Group could make a move, a group of heavenly moat demons charged over. Kill! Everyone from the Judgment Mercenary Group gritted their teeth and attacked the heavenly moat demons. The rest of you, assist them from the back. The old woman immediately shouted when she saw this. A few women and girls immediately used the light, support, divine ability. As a radiant priest, although his combat strength was weak, his support was very strong. Roar, roar, eat them. When the formation was broken, 25 heavens moat demons charged over. Each of them had at least the strength of a rank 9 transcendent. They charged towards the members of the Judgment Mercenary Group. The members of the Judgment Mercenary Group, who were only at the level of a rank 6 or rank 7 transcendent, felt the dark energy charging towards them. They gulped in fear. They looked at the light shields, holy light illumination, and exorcism surrounding their bodies. They gritted their teeth and charged towards the demons. A rank 7 transcendent met a half-step void interpretation demon with his sword. At the moment of collision, he closed his eyes in fear. Kiki, go to hell. When the demon saw that this weak human dared to attack him, his eyes revealed a look of disdain. His sharp claws slashed at the sword in his hand. However, when the heavenly moat demon's claws landed on the longsword that was illuminated by the holy light easily broke through his sharp claws. A painful and unbelievable voice rang out. What? The transcendent level 7 middle-aged man opened his eyes. When he saw this scene, a look of shock appeared on his face. Go to hell! He immediately reacted, and the long sword in his hand that was covered in light slashed towards the heavenly moat demon. The powerful power of light directly broke through the heavenly moat demon's body. A blood-curdling scream sounded, and the heavenly moat demon died. Haha, I actually killed him, haha. His face revealed an excited expression as he shouted loudly. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, miserable screams came from the surroundings, causing him to be slightly stunned. He hurriedly looked over and discovered that every member of his team was brandishing the sharp swords in their hands, easily killing one heavenly moat demon after another. This was especially so for the group leader and the others, who had even killed 2 to 3 heavenly moat demons. These were heavenly moat demons that were on the same level as the group leader. Shocking. Incomparable shocking. Bathed in the power of light, they were actually able to easily kill demon beasts that were 2 or 3 levels higher than them. Moreover, even if they were hit, the light shield in front of them could easily block the moat demon's attacks. Wasn't this light support too terrifying? Was the support effect of a radiant priest so strong? Yes, but only an extremely powerful radiant priest could do it. Run, there's a powerful radiant priest among them. Run immediately. At this moment, a moat demon let out a terrified cry. Its entire body turned into a black shadow as it fled into the depths of the forest. The remaining few moat demons didn't hesitate at all as they fled into the distance in fear. Darkness restrained light, and light similarly restrained darkness. A powerful radiant priest could easily restrain them. This. At the back, the old woman and the rest looked on in shock. Old, whose hands trembled as he looked at Wang Xian and gulped. Haha, they died just like that. 20 natural moat demons were killed by US just like that. We're rich. Too strong. We're simply too strong. The heavenly moat demons actually escaped. Li Si and the other members of the Judgment Mercenary Group shouted with excitement on their faces. They looked at the corpses on the ground with burning eyes. The corpses of the heavenly moat demons were very valuable. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group looked at the corpses one by one, but he was shocked in his heart. He knew that they were able to kill the heavenly moat demons so easily because of that young man. His strength. Looking at the power of light that was dissipating slowly, a look of respect appeared in his eyes. Come over here and thank that powerhouse. The leader of the Judgment Mercenary Group shouted softly. He looked at Wang Xian and walked over slowly. The people from the Judgment Mercenary Group were slightly stunned. Following that, they looked at Wang Xian in awe. They immediately walked over. Li Si, you just... Wasn't I very powerful just now? A girl ran over. She wanted to ask why he left her there and escaped alone. However, Li Si raised his head slightly and said to the girl. His eyes were filled with the joy of surviving a calamity and the excitement of killing a powerful demonic beast. This made the girl unhappy. All of you are very powerful, but I hate all of you. Wang Xian looked at the people from the Judgment Mercenary Group. When he heard Li Siwei's voice to the girl, a faint mocking expression appeared on his face as he said coldly, Huh. His words caused the faces of the people from the Judgment Mercenary Group to stiffen slightly. Slowly they became embarrassed. Old Hu and the rest also looked at Wang Xian in astonishment and at this mysterious young man. Young master, our Judicial Mercenary Group was in the wrong just now. We were in the wrong. Please give us a chance. The leader of the Judicial Mercenary Group hurriedly took 2 steps forward and said in a low voice, Give you a chance? Am I not thinking clearly?